Sorry. Good morning, honorable members and those under the sound of my voice. I join in with the psalmist in declaring, it is a good thing to give thanks unto the Lord and to sing praises unto thy name, O Most High. In our Moments of Impact devotional segment this morning, I'll be sharing a devotional entitled, The Value of a Good Name. In today's world, there's a general underestimation and underappreciation of the value of a good name. A good name is one of the most powerful attributes that define and make up who we are as individuals. Having a good name doesn't mean that you are perfect, as there are no human beings that are perfect on earth. However, it does mean that you live a life above reproach. A good name is built through integrity, hard work, loyalty, discipline, commitment, consistency, authenticity, sincerity, and humility. When you have a good name, people will honor, respect, and trust you. When you have a good name, it will create a rich legacy that will be a blessing to your children, to your children's children, and will ultimately outlive you. The scripture teaches us in Proverbs chapter 22, verse 1, a good name is rather to be chosen than great riches, and favor than silver and gold. The lesson from this scripture is that your name is more important than wealth or material possessions, and respect is worth more than silver or gold. In my conclusion, I want to encourage each of you, under the sound of my voice, to protect and preserve your name. At all costs, avoid corruption, skullduggery, or becoming involved in any level of unscrupulous activities, because all of these lead to your name being tarnished. A tarnished name will adversely affect your career, your political party, your business, your family, and even your future. I leave you with this final thought today. It takes years to build a good name, but seconds to destroy it. Never underestimate or underappreciate the value of a good name. And so, today, I say be wise. Walk circumspectly, because your name is all you have. Selah. Think and act on these things. Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for sparing our lives to see yet another day. We thank you today, Lord, for your continuous grace and mercy that you freely bestow upon us. Lord, we pause in this moment to acknowledge your sovereignty in the earth. For it is you that sitteth upon the circle of the earth, and the inhabitants thereof are as grasshoppers. It is you that stretcheth out the heavens as a curtain, and spreadeth them out as a tent to dwell in. It is you that bringeth the princes to nothing. It is you that maketh the judges of the earth as vanity. And so today, Lord, we hallow and we exalt your name on high. For you are a great God, and you are worthy to be praised, magnified, and adored. And so we ask you today, Lord, to help each of us individually to build a good name. Where we are weak, Lord, give us strength. Where we fall short and make mistakes, Lord, have mercy on us and forgive us. Help us all to be people of integrity, consistency, authenticity, sincerity, and humility. Now, Father, we ask today, Almighty God, that your Holy Spirit would superintend the affairs of this house, lead and direct the very thoughts of our honorable members this day. I pray for your divine strength and sustenance upon each of them as they seek to carry out their assignments. Be thou exalted and lifted on high in this house today, for it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Let us pray the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
Good morning, honorable members. At the suspension, we were debating a compendium of bills. I believe that we are now ready. And the chair recognizes the honorable member for Elizabeth.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, one of the understated benefits of politics and political campaigning in the Bahamas is the opportunity to meet remarkable people. As Member of Parliament, we often receive, thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, one of the understated benefits of politics and political campaigning in the Bahamas is the opportunity to meet remarkable people. As Member of Parliament, we often receive requests for street lights, street paving, and bush trimming, but we also hear extraordinary stories of personal triumph. The stories of Bahamians striving and overcoming seemingly insurmountable odds not only inspire and motivate, but more importantly, reminds us of our purpose in this chamber. These stories serve to highlight areas where executive and legislative action can be required and public policy reform may be needed. In February 2020, Elvado McKinney, a resident of the Elizabeth constituency, was struck off his motorcycle while traveling on Prince Charles Drive. As a result of the accident, Elvado suffered many life-threatening injuries that included traumatic brain injury, 9 broken ribs, 2 broken arms, a broken femur and pelvis, a lacerated liver, and a crushed lung. While in hospital, he contracted pneumonia. It took 2 weeks for Elvado to open his eyes, and his family was advised that he would remain in a vegetative state. Madam Speaker, I want to show you a photo of Elvado just a year ago. Just a year ago. This was Elvado. Wow. A year ago. I'm going to show you another photo today. Today, Elvado can use his hands to assist with standing, and he now moves around with a walker. And he's watching me today at home with a few members of his family. Elvado's story of defying the odds serves as an inspiration and motivation to me as his member of Parliament. And Madam Speaker, my contribution during this budget debate is dedicated to Elvado, the fighter and champion from Elizabeth, and other Bahamians who are overcoming life-threatening challenges. And I see Elvado's sister Monique. I'm going to ask you to stand. Who takes care of Elvado? I recall when I met the family, he was bedridden. It was so You had to be so careful when I was campaigning. You know, we had COVID. And so his mother had to stay with him all day while everyone did their part and contributed to his well-being. And his mother is no longer here with us today.
Wow.
And so now Monique is the 100% caretaker of Elvado. And I have watched his transition from wheelchair. And they surprised me one day, that's how we got that photo, and had Elvado walk into my office to show me his progress. And so this speech is dedicated to Elvado. Through the stroke of a pen, Madam Speaker, the laws we pass and the public policies we implement can heal, uplift, empower, and secure. May we, as members of Parliament, always embrace and be mindful of this awesome responsibility and live up to the expectations of the people who sent us here. Madam Speaker, it is a privilege to address this honorable House during the 2023-24 budget debate as Member of Parliament for Elizabeth and the Minister of Transport and Housing. As I speak, Madam Speaker, I am aware that there's a lot to be thankful for. Like the young people say, gratitude is a must. I want to start by giving thanks to God for the gift of life and the health and strength to serve my country and the Bahamian people. My family has been my rock and a source of great strength, especially my husband and my daughter, Bethany. On Sunday past, Madam Speaker, my husband Donovan and I celebrated our 7th wedding anniversary. I can't tell you all how we celebrate, but we celebrate. Donovan is my biggest supporter, and his loving arms has sustained me through the good and the bad days. Donovan, I love you, and I appreciate all that you do. My daughter, Bethany, continues to inspire me daily. As a mother, and like so many other Bahamian mothers, I want what is best for my child. I want my daughter to know that she can become whatever she desires, and that there are opportunities for advancement available to her within the land of her birth. I know that I am not alone in my hope, Madam Speaker, and love for my child, as there are thousands, including my colleagues, of other Bahamian mothers, and yes, Bahamian fathers who share similar hope. My mother and father are joining me today. I'm going to ask them to stand. Wade and Irma Colby. And I'm proud to have them witness my second national budget debate contribution. My parents have instilled in me the value of prayer and the spirit of being bold, courageous, and fearless. I'm grateful for their love and sincerely hope that their Joey continues to make them proud. I'm thankful to our Prime Minister and the Member of Parliament for Cat Island, Rumkey, and St. Salvador for appointing me to serve in the Cabinet, and my Cabinet and parliamentary colleagues for their assistance and support. I also wish, Madam Speaker, to convey my sincere thanks and gratitude to the hard-working staff of the Ministry of Transport and Housing and the various agencies, which include Aircraft Accident Investigation Authority, Department of Meteorology, Road Traffic Department, Post Office Department, Port Department, and the Department of Housing. At the constituency level, I wish to express my sincere appreciation to my campaign and office teams for their consistency and loyalty in serving the great people of Elizabeth. And some of them are here in the gallery. And I'm going to ask them to stand for their support. There. And I also had my former opponent standing with them. When you can't beat them, you join them. You may be seated. There have been many long hours and many personal sacrifices made by Team Elizabeth Matters, and to ensure that we deliver on the pledges made to residents. And I have one of my graduates here with us today, Emmanuel Joseph Jr. from Yamacraw, the 2023 valedictorian from Temple Christian High School. Stand, Emmanuel. And he will be attending Middle Tennessee State University. And Emmanuel's father is here with him. And he will be studying aerospace engineering. Every day, Madam Speaker, I am reminded that the votes of most of the people of Elizabeth brought me to this chamber. And I was sent to this chamber to speak up on behalf of the people of Elizabeth. I was sent here to ensure that the laws we debate and pass allow for progress and security of the residents of Elizabeth and Bahamians. Madam Speaker, it's been more than 19 months since I was sworn in as Member of Parliament and Cabinet Minister. And like many colleagues, I love what I do. My love for being a legislator and policymaker does not come from the selfish desire for public attention or personal gain, but for the opportunity to make a positive contribution to our society and the people of the Bahamas. As the youngest female ever elected to the House of Assembly and to serve in cabinet, I am fully aware that I must humbly leave the door open for others to join and follow. As much as the opportunity to serve in the executive branch of government is rewarding because of the ability to positively impact lives, the position can also come with drawbacks, especially for young women. These drawbacks can include harsh and highly personal public criticisms that is often unrelated to the performance of one's public duties. My advice to young women, and yes, even those young women in the opposition party, is simply press on. Earlier in the year, I was given a copy of an address delivered by the New York Police Department's first female police commissioner. She gave this to the Police Women's Endowment Association of New York. In giving advice to women leaders, Madam Speaker, Commissioner Sewald said, and I quote, "You will get free, unsolicited personal advice. Your hairstyle is wrong, and you look tired. You should wear different colors. You are not qualified. You are in over your head. Know that you are different and will be treated as such. Don't be offended when people who don't know you tell others who you are. Try not to take it personally when people you have never met tell others what you think. Understand that you will be second-guessed, told what you should say, told what you should write. When you are no pushover, you will be called difficult. When you do things your way, you don't listen. Your very existence is a problem for many. But every woman in this room, and every woman with dirt on her face in this arena, is counting on you. You are no experiment. You are no box checker. This is no social promotion, and this was no gift." End quote.
Yes.
The words from the New York Police Commissioner give me the courage to continue. While I am receptive to criticism, I know that I will not always get it right. I know that my personal sacrifice will not go in vain. When your intentions are good, Madam Speaker, and your heart is in the right place, the result will always be positive. In carrying out my duties, I am reminded of Proverbs 16, verse 3, which said, "Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and he will establish your plans." I wish to acknowledge once again the support of the Prime Minister, my cabinet and parliamentary colleague, and the support of my wider progressive liberal family for standing with me and our female parliamentarians. My sisters, all of you, and I, we stand in the shadow of the Member of Parliament for Angliston, the longest elected female parliamentarian in the Bahamas. And we are here to make a difference, to heal, uplift, empower, and secure. Madam Speaker, in November, the Progressive Liberal Party will observe its 70th anniversary. Since 1953, the PLP has played a major role in writing the script of the modern Bahamas, from supporting the right of women to vote, to ushering in majority rule, to bringing about national independence, to building the organs of statehood, to bringing to office the first female to serve as Deputy Prime Minister. The PLP continues to champion the cause of Bahamians. As the PLP prepares to celebrate 70 years, our nation will celebrate its golden anniversary. 20 years after the founding of the PLP, our country became an independent nation. While our 50th independence anniversary observances will give us a chance to celebrate our nation's achievement, the celebration should also motivate moments of sober national reflection. While our nation's progress is evident from 1973 to now, the task of continuing to write the script of the modern Bahamas continues. Solutions to address challenges such as ensuring the quality of life and access to health care on some of our family islands is comparable to New Providence is our priority. Further, to reduce the number of murders in the Bahamas, efforts to eliminate and curb the demand for illegal guns on our street continues to be this government's focus. Madam Speaker, the Bahamian people want progress and security. Our people are looking to us within the executive and legislative branches to continue the national journey started by our founding fathers. The public policies we implement and the laws we pass must assist in furthering the promise of independence for generations of Bahamians across the length and breadth of the Bahamas. The goal, therefore, of public policy must be to keep people at the heart. It must be to have small businesses and people as the focus of national development. The goal of public policy must be to ensure that the young girl or boy growing up in Clarencetown, Long Island, in Abrahams Bay, Mayaguana, in United States, San Salvador, in Dumfries, Cat Island, in the Bluff, South Andros, in Holmes Rock, Grand Bahama, in Long Key, in Elizabeth Estates, in East Street can have access to the same empowerment opportunities as the young girl or boy living in Lightfoot Key or Cable Beach. With respect to small and medium-sized businesses, our public policies must ensure that businesses on Grand Bahama and the Family Islands, like Mom's Restaurant and Bar in 8 Mile Rock, Grand Bahama, Robert's Grocery Store in Bimini, Berry Island Cuts in Great Harbor Key, Debbie's Bakery in Tarpon Bay, Eleuthera, ABR Plumbing in Farmers Hill, Exuma, and Virgil's Construction and Renovations in Lovely Bay, Acklands can grow and expand, creating stable employment for Bahamians and powering an economic resurgence. Let us make no mistake, Madam Speaker, national development starts at the community level. The positive impacts of our public policies must be felt in the small businesses and homes of our people. Our plans must be felt on their balance sheets and statements of income. Our plans much touch their wallets and their kitchen tables. After all, public policy is not intended to be abstract. Madam Speaker, public policy is important, but so too is national leadership. The COVID-19 pandemic was a global crisis. Certainly, the magnitude of the crisis was significant. However, COVID-19 also taught us the value of having a prime minister who is people-focused, open-minded, and compassionate. We have a prime minister and minister of finance who has been tested and can bring people together. He understands what is required to move our nation forward and is not afraid to make the difficult decisions, and yes, even ones that might cause temporary discomfort, but are in the best interest of the country and will result in positive long-term national dividends. When I compare the Prime Minister to the leaders of other political parties, the member for Cat Island, Rumkey, and St. Salvador is miles ahead. His leadership is one defined by progress and security for the Bahamian people. Our Prime Minister understands his job is to heal, uplift, empower, and secure. It's a new day, Madam Speaker. It is often said that where there is no vision, the people perish. In our blueprint for change, we outlined a 10-point plan to recover, rebuild, and revolutionize. We promise to provide good governance that prioritizes Bahamian. Two critical pillars of the blueprint included rescuing the Bahamian economy and empowering Bahamians. The blueprint, Madam Speaker, is our vision. The work that we have undertaken so far demonstrates that we are committed to the goal of putting Bahamians first. In less than 24 months, Madam Speaker, we can point to several decisions made by this PLP administration. While I wish not to be exhaustive in my contribution, let me point out a few. We have reduced the value-added tax rate from 12% to 10%, a savings immediately felt in the wallets of Bahamians. We have increased the minimum wage from $210 to $260 a week. And the Department of Labor says almost 60,000 Bahamian workers have benefited from the increase. We have reopened the water sports and Surrey industries, returning scores of Bahamians to work, especially young men. We have restarted the affordable housing program after years of pause and dereliction. The resumption of the building of homes through public-private partnerships has afforded dozens of Bahamians the opportunity to become homeowners. And we have made it possible for the records of Bahamians convicted of breaking the COVID-19 emergency orders to be expunged upon application. This decision has positively impacted the lives of several Bahamians, especially our young Bahamian men. Madam Speaker, this 2023-24 national budget intends to build on the progress we have made so far for the Bahamian people. Our mission to rescue the Bahamian economy and empower Bahamians is well underway. It's a new day, Madam Speaker. The presentation of the national budget is one of the most important exercises of a government. Through a national budget, the priorities of the executive branch of government are outlined. For the Davis administration, we understand the significance of the budget for Bahamian citizens and small and medium-sized businesses. For single mothers like Ms. Wilson of Yamacraw Drive, a mother of 2 kids, the national budget should provide relief and allow her dollars to stretch a little further. For Lyle Maycock, who graduated from St. Andrews International School with honors, and Faven Maycock, who graduated from St. Paul's Episcopal High School in Alabama. The national budget should create avenues for economic growth that will encourage them to come back home. For Zaria McKenzie, who graduated from Galilee Academy as valedictorian and is currently studying biology with the goal of becoming a pediatrician. The national budget should create opportunities in healthcare. Business owners like Ms. Kemp of Bahamas Luxury Concierge, a company that provides services to guests traveling to the Bahamas. Mr. Bow of Bahamas Cavi, a company that sells locally made soaps and other items. The national budget should support entrepreneurial growth. For retirees like Ms. Sweden and her husband of College Gardens, the budget should assist in maintaining a comfortable standard of living and ensure that their monthly NIB pension is secure. For homeowners like the Brennans who live in Elizabeth, the budget should assist in furnishing their new triplex at a reasonable cost, or as they say, without having to break the bank. While the budget to some is primarily an account of government revenues and expenditure alongside the funding strategy to bridge the gap, it is much more than that. A national budget can calm financial markets and bring comfort to creditors and international agencies like the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank. But a people-driven budget, Madam Speaker, is designed to hail, uplift, empower, and secure from the community level and up. The national budget is a budget for the security and continued progress for the Bahamian people. The budget reflects the Davis administration commitment to strengthening national security, economic security, and personal safety and security. Some plans to build an economy that promotes Bahamian ownership and participation include major investment across our family islands, expansion of renewable energy, increasing school funding and diversifying the economy, reducing food costs, and promoting national food security. For retired citizens and persons like Elvado, the Catastrophic Health Care Fund will assist in alleviating the financial burden of major illnesses or industries. Young married couples and single-parent households will have greater access to housing solutions through affordable housing program and the rent-to-own options. Small business owners will benefit from the increased financial support. Students will benefit from a new breakfast program and increased financial support for sports and training. Madam Speaker, the budget is being presented against the backdrop of a rebound in the country's overall economic activity. In 2022, real gross domestic product growth was recorded at 14.4%, and gross domestic product in nominal terms grew by 11.9%. This improvement in the performance of the economy is welcome news after consecutive quarters of decline due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And while the overall performance of our economy has been marked by a rebound, we must note that there are some islands where there was a decline. These islands include Grand Bahama, Abaco, Eleuthera, Long Island, Mayaguana, Acklins, Crooked Island, and Inagua. And it is important to note, Madam Speaker, that some of these islands for years have been experiencing economic decline or marginal growth. The Davis administration is aware of this decline and will seek, through the policy decisions in this budget, to support a resurgence in the economies of these islands. As a member of the Davis administration, I can tell you firsthand, Madam Speaker, that the Prime Minister and his cabinet are aware of the intricate dynamics of each island and are working hard to ensure that each island succeeds economically. A few significant observations from the budget include the allocation of $3.5 million for a rent-to-own program, affording many Bahamians a path to ownership, $13 million for Family Island capital development, the the allocation of $20 million for road repairs and maintenance, and over $11 million for New Providence road works. The allocation of $1 million for a primary school breakfast pilot program, allowing thousands of students to receive a hot meal before the start of class, easing the burden on households. The resumption of the Royal Bahamas Defense Force Rangers program for young boys and girls after years of being paused due to the COVID pandemic, through allocation of $100,000, an increase of more than 50% in budget support for the Ramfley Home for Children and the Crisis Center, and the addition of more than $120,000 to the allocation for the Elizabeth Estates Children Home. Madam Speaker, I now wish to address matters pertaining to my cabinet assignment as the Minister of Transport and Housing. My ministry is comprised of the following agencies: the Aircraft Accident Investigative Authority, the Bahamas Meteorology, the Road Traffic Department, the Post Office Department, the Port Department, and the Department of Housing. Relations with the Bahamas Mortgage Corp, the Bahamas Maritime Authority, and mailboat service operators also fall under my ministry. We at the Ministry of Transport and Housing have made significant progress in rolling out our agenda, and we are pressing on. To be clear, Madam Speaker, we at the Ministry of Transport and Housing have been working diligently to deliver for the Bahamian people. And as they say, Madam Speaker, the proof is in the pudding. I will now share the accomplishments of each agency under my ministry in the past year and plans for the upcoming budget period. Air Accident Investigative Authority. The mandate for the Air Accident Investigative Authority is to investigate aircraft accidents and serious incidents with a view to making recommendations to prevent reoccurrence. The recurrent budget for the agency falls under Head 40. In 2022, the agency facilitated delivery of aviation safety training for agency stakeholders like the Royal Bahamas Police Force, Airport Authority, Civil Aviation Authority, Nassau Airport Development, and the Ministry of Tourism, Investments, and Aviation. We participated in the ICAO turnkey project for the North America, Central America, and Caribbean region. We completed all accident investigations within a 12-month time frame from the date of occurrence. Reconvened the recurrent training program to ensure investigators are trained to international standards at the approved aviation training facilities. And we held discussion with leadership at the Royal Bahamas Police Force to work toward the establishment and eventual execution of a memorandum of understanding between AAIA and RBPF. In 2023, the authority will add 2 investigators to build capacity to respond more effectively to major commercial accidents and serious incidents. They increased the AIA salaries to reflect industry standards both locally and internationally, and continue safety training programs for aviation stakeholders. The recurrent training of AIA staff will also continue to ensure that the agency remains on the cutting edge of investigative techniques and technology advancements. The Bahamas Met Department. The Met Department provides weather and climate information to Bahamians and the international community. The recurrent budget for the department is outlined in Head 55. In 2022, the department completed a storm surge risk model for Grand Bahama, Abaco, and Eleuthera. They started work on creating a similar storm surge risk model for the remainder of the Bahamas and the Turks and Caicos Island. They installed 3 new automatic weather stations on Ragged Island, Freeport Airport, and East End, Grand Bahama. They began assessments on the department's quality management system towards having ISO 9000 certified, a requirement from the International Civil Aviation Organization. They made provision for 12 staff members to take advantage of training opportunities through attendances to international conferences, seminars, and workshops in the Met and related disciplines. And they launched the Niccolo P. Small Meteorology Cadet Program For 2023-24 budget period, the proposed expenditure for the Met Department is over $2.4 million. Plans for this budget period include the completion of storm surge risk model for the entire Bahamas, the installation of additional 6 new automatic weather stations in the new airport in Berry Islands in North Andros, Central and North Abaco, and North and South Abaco, the continuation of work on the department's quality management system towards ISO certification, and the upgrade of all meteorological equipment at the forecast offices in New Providence and Freeport. Of great importance is the allocation of $205,000 to hire 15 Bahamians to be trained as meteorological observers and meteorological engineers. Last week, Madam Speaker, my ministry announced the launch of the Niccolo P. Small Meteorology Program, named in honor of the first Bahamian director of the Bahamas Meteorology Department. The cadet program will foster positive leadership development and professional career participation in the field of meteorology in the Bahamas. Support and encourage a culture of academic excellence in science and mathematics. Build a highly trained cadre of youths in the field of meteorology to understand the impact of climate change on the Bahamas, and encourage women to join STEM occupations. Bahamian students enroll in high school and college university between the age of 14 to 25 are invited to apply for enrollment in the program. Applicants will receive a stipend, and application forms can be obtained by emailing npsmc@bahamas.gov.bs or collected from the Department of Meteorology or the Ministry of Transport and Housing. The Road Traffic Department. Madam Speaker, the Road Traffic Department is expected to continue to be a major source of revenue to the government. In the 2023-24 budget period, the road traffic is projecting an income of more than $56 million. As indicated in Head 54, the department is allocated over $6.9 million for recurrent expenditure. In 2022, the department launched and began the issuance of commercial driver's license. And to date, Madam Speaker, over 280 commercial driver's licenses have been issued. Madam Speaker, we've continued the launch of the Transportation Management System service in the Family Islands, with St. Salvador fully online. We reestablished the National Road Safety Council with representation from the Ministry of Education, Technical and Vocational Training, Ministry of Public Works and Utility, Ministry of Health and Wellness, and the Royal Bahamas Police Force. Formed a stronger working partnership with stakeholders such as the Bahamas Taxi Cab Union and the Bahamas Hotel and Tourism Association. We launched the Taxi Industry Service Improvement Project and successfully hosted Road Safety Awareness Week 2023, with observances held on all major Family Islands. Plans for this budget period include the opening of a road traffic office in 8 Mile Rock, Grand Bahama by the end of August, and offices in the Orange Creek and New Bight, Cat Island by the end of October 2023. Offices in Mayaguana and Inagua should be ready by the end of December 2023. The Crooked Island office will provide mobile services to Acklands and Long Key and should also be ready by the end of December 2023. Madam Speaker, the new offices will ensure the efficient collection of revenue by the department, create employment opportunities in those islands, and strengthen our efforts to promote road safety. The Taxi Industry Service Improvement Project is a partnership between the Ministry of Transport and Housing, the Bahamas Taxi Cab Union, and the Bahamas Hotel and Tourism Association. to improve customer service standards in the industry. A major component of the project includes an increase of 10% in taxi fares. It was under the last PLP administration that taxi fares were increased, Madam Speaker. And it is this new day PLP again that is raising the fare for the taxi drivers. By the end of September 2023, a code of conduct for all public service drivers and franchise owners will be in place. Breaches to the code of conduct, Madam Speaker, will be subject to a hearing and action by the tribunal. A special app will also be launched very soon for members of the public to provide feedback on drivers. Improvements are also on the way for the jitney industry. Madam Speaker, a new franchise inspection process will be instituted by May 2024 to ensure the appropriateness of all vehicles. An additional 40 supervisors will be employed at the road traffic offices throughout the Bahamas with the primary responsibility of enforcing the Road Traffic Act for all franchise holders and public service drivers. The mobile unit will be reconstituted in New Providence. In support of a stronger vehicle inspection regime, the department intends to move from a manual inspection process to an automated system and digital aided approach that will include testing of brakes, suspension and shock systems, wheel alignment, and light intensity. The inspection regime will not inconvenience or prohibit vehicles from being on the road. Madam Speaker, I want to repeat that because I know when we raised this before, there were many concerns from the public. The new inspection regime will not inconvenience or prohibit vehicles from being on the road. Rather, the process is a new process, will be designed to ensure that our vehicles are safe and they are road-worthy. Madam Speaker, I want to show right now a look at what some of what you will see with the new regime. Here you can see where the cars will drive through a mobile testing unit. This is how it looks. And on the ground, what you have is the testing of your shocks, your wheel alignment, your brakes. This is done in minutes. In minutes, this is done. All we are doing, you drive in, and as you touch it, the numbers begin rolling, testing to make sure our cars are roadworthy. We heard our Minister of Public Works talking about all the road works that's happening. Now we need to make sure the road and the cars match. This is what you call new day, Madam Speaker, because road safety will continue to be a key focus of the department. The National Road Safety Committee will lead these efforts, and planned initiatives will be impactful and meaningful. In short, Madam Speaker, we must reduce the number of traffic fatalities on our streets. With regards to tabled legislation, the Road Traffic Amendment Bill 2023, I was quite excited when it raised so much public discussion with the wrong bill, because then that brought the discussion of the real bill, the real amendment, and the purpose of it. And the bill reinforces the prohibition on renting private vehicles to the public and introduces a fine of up to $1,000 for persons violating the law. Under the law, vehicles being rented to public must have a self-drive license plate. You have to be in order. As I conclude my overview of Road Traffic Department, I just want to, no, I include the speech, the road traffic part. Want to advise the House that Mistress Linda Moxie has been appointed as the first female to head the Road Traffic Department. The first female in the history of the Bahamas as the head. She comes with a wealth of knowledge and is very qualified to head the department, having previously served as a senior officer of the Royal Bahamas Police Force. The Post Office Department, Madam Speaker. The Post Office Department is expected to generate over $1.9 million in revenue during the budget period. The department continued efforts to refurbish and renovate post offices on New Providence, Fox Hill, Carmichael Road, Cable Beach offices, and in the Family Islands, Rum Key, Grand Bahama, and Abaco. Automated the payment of rent for mailboxes via the My Gateway portal. They increased the staff complement of the department by 53 new officers to improve operations and address critical vacant areas. And they made provisions for staff members to participate in local and international training programs. We recognize that the Post Office Department has the potential for further growth and development. A major plan for the department in this budget year is the development and creation of an automated counter and parcel delivery operation to facilitate electronic payment transactions and online purchasing, along with track and tracing capabilities. I'm advised that revenue intake from this operation in the first 3 years can exceed $3 million. Plans are in motion for the redesign of the post office building in Grand Bahama to accommodate other government offices. This redesign will result in a multi-purpose facility and will alleviate the payment of rent for several government buildings. With reference to the new General Post Office building, I can advise that this House plans are in progress. The new post office will include additional services, for example, courier services, which allow international packages to be delivered to your mailbox. Efforts to improve the operation of the post office savings bank will also be given significant attention in this budget period. Given the complaints we have heard from several family islands about the lack of banking services, the post office savings bank is being reviewed as a viable option to fill the gap created by the absence of commercial banks. And I know we have been saying this, but I also want to advise that I had a team travel with the group from finance to review a product in the Dominican Republic that may be utilized here in the Bahamas for our postal savings bank to provide those services. The Port Department, Madam Speaker, is expected to generate over $18 million in revenue. As outlined in Head 53, the department is allocated over $9 million for recurrent expenditure. In 2022, the Port Department signed a memorandum of understanding with Elbow Reef Lighthouse Society, the Bahamas Maritime Authority, and the Port of Miami. Obtained a patrol for Exuma to aid in oversight by the department. We successfully negotiated a contract after a transparent and thorough procurement process that enabled a Bahamian company owned by young Bahamians to improve the department's digital platform to enable revenue enhancement, with the key focus of collection of revenue from foreign-owned boats and charters. The awarding of the contract for this service is in line with our blueprint for change and the fulfillment, Madam Speaker, of the pledge by this Davis administration to allocate 5% of all procurement contracts to businesses owned by young, qualified Bahamians. We also improved the cleanliness of Porter's Key Dock. We increased the collection of outstanding fees and established the Maritime Revenue Committee, a partnership with the Ministry of Finance and other government agencies such as Customs, Inland Revenue, and the Royal Bahamas Defense Force to ensure greater compliance and to capture revenue leakage. Plans of the department in 2023 include the cleaning of Nassau Harbor and the surrounding areas, issuance of an RFP for Cooperstown and Marsh Harbor ports. Now, that has been a big topic of discussion, Madam Speaker. And I know the MP for Central and South Abaco raised it, but I want to make sure I reiterate to ensure the people of Abaco. The Ministry of Transport and Housing was working hard from day one, and we had input from all the relevant government agencies in various countless meetings. And we sent our draft to the Office of the Attorney General, and they reviewed it. And now today, Madam Speaker, we have loaded the RFP for the Cooperstown Port and the Marsh Harbors Port to continue to stimulate and grow the economy of Abaco. The construction of office spaces at the Dockmaster's office on Porter's Key. The relocation, and I'm excited about this one. It may be small to some, but it's big to me. The relocation of our Nassau Harbor Control. They have now been relocated to the Nassau Cruise Port Terminal building. And that is such a good feeling because they do a very important job. But when I came in as minister, they were in most uncomfortable conditions. It was a very bad setup where they were. Couldn't hardly see. Sometimes the air works, sometimes it doesn't work, and they work on shifts, and they help to direct our cruise ships in our harbor. And so now they have a very comfortable home where they will operate from. The urgent review of the Port Department offices in Exuma and Eleuthera is also a priority. The Bahamas, Madam Speaker, is an archipelago nation made up of several islands. And throughout the Bahamas, there are 200 aids to navigation that assess and assist vessels, such as cruise ships and other boats in navigating our waters. Over the years, many of the aids to navigation have been deteriorated and are simply not functioning. This is not a good position for our country to be in. I wish to share now with members of photos of the removal of one of the aids to navigation to demonstrate the extent of decay. This is what is in our waters presently. Wow. An urgent upgrade and maintenance are required. An invitation to bid on this service was conducted in accordance with the procurement policy of the government, and a Bahamian company won the bid in a transparent and fair process. I wish to now share, Madam Speaker, a photo of the new navigation aid that will be used by the company. Madam Speaker, I am told now this is not even as good as this look, the best of the best. So we're trying to get the best of the best, but this is the level of upgrade where we are heading in the Bahamas. In our blueprint, we spoke about navigation and marine being a priority so we can up our maritime revenue. I know the fishermen saying that because they stay messaging me. Tell them I'm working for them. Yes. According to the World Bank, Madam Speaker, the blue economy is the sustainable use of ocean resources for economic growth, improved livelihoods, and jobs while preserving the health of ocean ecosystem. In our Blueprint for Change, the PLP pledged to modernize the fishing industry, create opportunities in ocean sciences and seafaring, protect seas, marine plant and animals, as well as further develop and regulate the beach and sea sports industry. This budget introduces significant reforms to the maritime industry to improve regulatory oversight and support Bahamian entrepreneurs. For decades, there have been numerous complaints from Bahamian operating in our water sports and sport fishing industries surrounding the unfair competition from foreign vessels which were allowed to temporarily operate in the Bahamas without the payment of import taxes. Given the significant capital costs associated with the purchase of vessels, government concessions were required to enable Bahamians to have a fair chance in participating in this industry. In keeping with the commitment in our Blueprint for Change, this budget, for the first time, will provide for water sports and sports fishing industries similar concessions and support as those given to taxi and livery tour businesses. Vessels imported into the Bahamas will pay a first-time registration fee in lieu of import duties and value-added taxes. This fee represents a significant saving for new and existing water sports and fishing operators. It is indeed a new day, Madam Speaker. To help equalize the playing field between Bahamian and non-Bahamian vessel owners, since coming into office, this Davis administration has increased the registration fees for persons participating in the Foreign Yacht Charter Program. The reforms do not end there. To promote safety, this budget will introduce an amendment which require all privately owned vessels in the Bahamas to be inspected by the Port Department. This amendment is long overdue and will save lives by ensuring that private vessels which are not seaworthy are not issued licenses. The Port Department is presently engaged in discussions relative to the introduction of licensing regime for persons to operate private vessels. Further updates will be provided to the public as discussions progress. The safety of our citizens and guests is the high priority for this Davis administration. The Department of Housing, Madam Speaker. As outlined in Head 45, the department is allocated over $3.2 million in recurring expenditure, and under the ministry's capital head, the department is assigned approximately $1.8 million for the development of subdivision infrastructure. In 2022, the department completed Phase 1 of Pinecrest subdivision in New Providence, developed and fine-tuned the framework and operating guide for a place to call home, a rent-to-own initiative, commenced construction of affordable homes in Renaissance of Carmichael, a housing project in New Providence, entered discussions with the Teachers Credit Union to offer alternative mortgage solutions at affordable costs and terms, with the signing of a memorandum of understanding to be signed shortly. Commenced the construction of 8 homes in the existing Dignity Gardens, continued the renovation of rental units in New Providence, and successfully relocated the Department of Housing to the Smiley Bastian building on Thompson Boulevard, expanding the accessibility of the agency to the members of the public. And Madam Speaker, I'm going to now show you photos, because sometimes when you say it, people don't believe you. So you have to, you have to show them photos.
Yes.
So I'm going to show you first, Madam Speaker, this is our rendering, no sketch, rendering of our rent-to-own homes and the looks of them. 2-bedroom and 2-bath. What's this one? 2-bedroom and 1 bath. And we are working very hard to keep our rent-to-own homes under $110,000. The TPM, this for first-time homeowners. This program is for first time. This is a picture of the homes we are building in Dignity. Now, this ain't no rendering. This was taken yesterday. Our Dignity homes are ready.
Yes.
I said, man, I don't know nothing but no company, nothing. These are the homes of our homes in Eleuthera. First time ever a government built homes in the Family Islands. First time. Clay, I got your back.
Come on, Minister.
Now you know they talk. Madam Speaker, you know they stress me out. They stress me out. But this, Madam Speaker, what I'm about to show you, this is our homes in Renaissance at Carmichael. Yes, everyone asking, they build yet in Carmichael. We have homes in Carmichael. Homes. Popping out the ground. Keys, give me them keys. Keys, giving out. Keys, come for your keys. Just one we want. See, we only want to see one. Plans for the budget period include, Madam Speaker, our plans include the opening of Ocean Hole subdivision in Rock Sound, Eleuthera, and the presentation of keys to qualified and deserving homeowners. And I want to say that we were working very hard, and I'm going to say this because I need to make sure my people in Eleuthera understand their colleague working hard for them. We were working hard to give this key presentation out. We tried for yesterday, and then we were trying for Monday because our homes are ready. Our homes are ready. We're having schedule conflicts right now, but Eleuthera, rest assured that our presentation of keys to qualified and deserving homeowners will be very soon. Now, Madam Speaker, I see my colleague, my good sister, next to me, looking at my speech, wondering when she can hear about Grand Bahama. I want them to know Grand Bahama, we are completing the acquisition of 18 lots. And why is that important? Because those 18 lots already have infrastructure. So all we have to do once we sign and housing on that land, we go and push down and begin building. So those 18 lots she gonna have very, very soon with foundation on them. And then we have another 100 lots in Dignity that we're going after, and we are soon to complete that acquisition. Now that's gonna have some infrastructure, so I can put her to work a little bit, because she gonna have to move some. Yeah, heritage. You know, I'm so excited. I see them house for Dignity. I confused a little bit. Heritage, Grand Bahama, in Heritage. And so the expansion of the affordable housing program in GB through partnership with the Bahamas Mortgage Corp, 6 homes of the island of Abaco have been identified for the launch of a place to call home, a rent-to-own initiative. We are starting in Abaco, and Abaco, you in the same position as Eleuthera. Once we get that date that works for us all, we will be handing out keys for the rent-to-own program. The Rent-to-Own Advisory Committee is in the final stages of vetting applications and preparing the necessary paperwork for the qualified and approved applicants. Significant efforts have been made to ensure that checks and balances are in place to guarantee sustainability and fairness with this initiative. And despite setbacks to the global supply chain, construction of homes at Renaissance, what I showed you, is progressing and in high conformance to building code standards. This project at the Renaissance at Carmichael, now remember, we changed that to Renaissance at Carmichael. That was Carmichael Village, that was this, that was, I don't know. Was started more than 15 years ago, Madam Speaker. 15 years ago, housing got this land in Carmichael. Millions spent over the years, millions. Talking about infrastructure, sell lot, all kind of things. They had no vision. It is this Davis administration that has finally put homes on the ground in Renaissance. that the handover ceremony is scheduled to be in the coming weeks. And in dignity, you saw the homes. We will be handing over those homes to the new homeowners at the end of August. The Davis administration is committed to a housing policy that is not only affordable, but one that is also inclusive. For the Department of Housing, one of the homes in Renaissance is being specially fitted for a family with a child with disabilities. And I remember like yesterday when I met his mother, she came to our first housing fair. And then she brought her son back for me to meet him. And she said, all I want is a home to have my son and raise him comfortably. I am saving, and from the first housing fair, she didn't have no saving. Now, because of that housing fair and the financial guidance she got, she will be one of the first ones to get her keys for her and her son, a single mother, taking care of her son. In support of our rent-to-own program, over $3.5 million was allocated, and the funds will assist with the building and acquiring vacant homes to renovate and repair for this initiative. We have prepared designs, and we're excited that our rent-to-own will be in New Providence, San Salvador, North Eleuthera, Grand Bahama, Abaco. We're getting ready. Within this budget, the Family Island Encouragement Act is being extended. Persons building homes throughout our islands can import building materials duty-free. Private sector contractors who are building at least 5 homes for prices of less than $300,000 can obtain a customs duty exemption on the building materials for the homes. The first-time homeowners program has been extended to embrace persons coming together to purchase homes. Bahamians can now obtain an exemption for duplex and triplex purchases once each unit will be occupied by an owner. Our mission at the ministry is to move transport and housing forward for Bahamians. The accomplishment of the past 12 months are because of the collaborative efforts of all team members. I take this opportunity to acknowledge once again the hardworking senior leaders and staff members for going above and beyond to fulfill the mandate of the Ministry of Transport and Housing. Our plans for 2023 are aggressive and robust. However, we remain committed to achieving our goals. For us, the result is the advancement of the Bahamian people. Madam Speaker, as I indicated earlier, the Ministry of Transport and Housing has relationships with the Bahamas Mortgage Corp and the Bahamas Maritime Authority. Established by an act of Parliament in 1983 August, BMC commenced services to the public in October of the same year. For 40 years, BMC has provided personal mortgage loan financing to Bahamian citizens and residents. And in recognition of the 40th anniversary of the founding of the corporation, I am pleased to advise this Honorable House that the building on East Hill Street that currently houses BMC will be named in the honor of the late Ruth Miller. She served as the first managing director of the corporation. Ms. Miller was a fine example of what a public servant should be. Many have come to know Ms. Miller through her services as financial secretary. However, she was involved in the Grantstown Urban Improvement Project and played a significant role in the development of the housing policy for the government of the Bahamas. Under the leadership of former Prime Minister, Right Honorable Hubert Ingram, who served as Minister of Housing at the time, Ms. Miller was instrumental in the completion of the first assessment of the housing stock of the Bahamas. Today, this important policy document continues to inform our plans for affordable housing in the Bahamas. We can measure the influence of strong public servants by their impact. Ruth Miller's pioneering work as the first managing director of BMC has enabled thousands of Bahamians to become homeowners. Since coming to office in 2021, BMC has issued over 300 mortgages in excess of $5 million. How 300 mortgages. Like many financial institutions, the corporation continues to experience fluctuating levels of mortgage delinquency. Delinquency refers to a payment that is at least 30 days past due. To be clear, BMC is aware that persons may be late in making their mortgage payments sometimes. However, as the Minister of Transport and Housing, I advise members of the public that BMC is here to help. If you are experiencing financial difficulties, please go in and have a conversation with the professionals at BMC. And I want to take this time to encourage Bahamians who wish to be first-time homeowners to save every little bit you can. Plan it out. Plan a budget and save. I have stories upon stories of young persons I met, went into BMC and they told them, this is your situation. This is what you must do. And those who abided by them are now on the approved list to be first-time homeowners. I wish to also advise the Honorable House that for the first time in more than 10 years, this administration will be tabling an audit report on BMC. The report will be tabled by September 2023. The Davis administration is committed to BMC and believes that the existence of the financial institution is vital to the mission of making home ownership possible for all Bahamians. My sincere thanks to the Board of Directors, the executive management, and the staff at the Bahamas Mortgage Corporation for all that you do. Madam Speaker, the Bahamas Maritime Authority, the BMA, continues to fulfill its mandate of effective management of the Bahamas Ship Registry with some over 1,468 ships totaling over 64 million gross tonnage, flying the Bahamas flag. The fleet that comprises of diversity of ship types and size, including the largest percentage of cruise ships in the world, is the 8th largest, and by tonnage represents 3.3% of the world's ocean-going fleet. In this budget period, $10 million in the dividends will be paid to the Treasury. With the easing of the COVID restrictions globally, the BMA has been actively engaged in promotional activities globally in efforts to grow the registry and further contribute to the national economy. Some of the notable events include joint sponsorships with the Ministry of Tourism at the Business on the Beach Sea Trade Cruise Shipping Global in Miami, Bari Ship in Japan, and regional seminar in Korea, with the target audience being key stakeholders and decision makers in the respective sector and/or region. The BMA continues to work with national agencies individually and collectively through the National Maritime Policy Committee to strengthen the national capacity, develop maritime policies, and provide technical guidance that ensure the Bahamas can fulfill its international obligation as coastal, flag, and port state. The BMA has actively represented the Bahamas at the international intergovernmental bodies, International Maritime Organization, International Labor Organization, International Oil Pollution Compensation, and International Maritime Satellite Organization, where our representatives have leadership roles and are making major contributions to the regulatory decision-making process. Some of the accomplishments of the BMA include chairing the IMO working group that raised the International Diving Code, being elected as one of the 8 IMO member states on an IMO-ILO joint Tripartite Working Group, being elected as a member of the Executive Committee of the International Oil Pollution Compensation Fund for 2023, and continuing to serve on the Executive Board of the World Maritime University. The Bahamas is currently one of the 40 of the IMO Council members, which is the IMO executive body, and the BMA are collaborating with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in the efforts to be re-elected to the IMO Council in 2024-2025 biennium. The election to the Council is important to ensure that equitable representation at the strategic level of the IMO for small island developing countries and the Caribbean region, in line with the UN Sustainability Goal 5, gender equality, and in support of the IMO's objective to raise awareness and profile of maritime to women. I am pleased to share that in my capacity as the Minister of Transport and Housing, I was a speaker during the first global conference on IMO Women in Maritime Association, which was organized by the IMO on International Women's Day in Maritime. My participation at this conference has given the Bahamas a platform to form many strategic partnerships which will bring tangible benefits for Bahamians. In short order, Madam Speaker, some exciting opportunities in the field of maritime will be announced for young Bahamians. At a regional level, the BMA recognized the commitment to the safety standards for ships operating in the Bahamas. The broader Caribbean region actively participates in the Caribbean Port State Control Committee in the area of national capacity and maritime education. The BMA continues to support the Bahamas Maritime Cadet Corps and the Loyal J. Mortimer Cadets, with a target of expanding the high school program to other islands. The importance of tapping into the next generation of seafarers and maritime professionals has been recognized by several of our cruise ship owners who are offering some onboard opportunities for students to experience while the ships are in port. This collaboration with our ship owners, including through the close relationship with the Bahamas Ship Owners Association, remains ongoing to ascertain more career paths and opportunities within the maritime sector for qualified Bahamians. Financial stewardships and revenue generation remain strategic objectives for the BMA, and every effort will continue to grow the registry, but without compromise to our quality standards. The Davis administration is committed to the BMA and believes that the expansion of opportunities in the maritime space will support the further development for the blue economy for the benefit of all Bahamians. And I am grateful to the Board of Directors, the executive management, and staff at the Bahamas Maritime Authority for their valuable work. Madam Speaker, I now turn to mail boat services. The mail boat service is I got a lot, Madam Speaker. I got a lot in transport. The mail boat service is critical to sustaining families and the economies of Grand Bahama and the Family Islands. For residents in communities like Lewis Yard and McLeanstown in Grand Bahama, Rock Sound in Eleuthera, Georgetown in Exuma, Sugarloaf in San Salvador, and Matthewtown in Inagua, packages for family members are shipped weekly. Mall businesses like Seawind Supermarket in Petty's, Long Island, People's Grocery in Bullocks Harbor, Berry Island, Evans One Shop Convenience Store in Low Sound, Andros, San Salvador Home Center in Bonefish Bay, San Salvador, and Lindsay's Sweet and Treats, a bakery in Colonial Hill, Crooked Island. The mailboat services brings much needed inventory and supplies. The Davis administration understands that connectivity to the capital is essential for economic, socio-economic, and infrastructural development of family islands. And as such, mailboat services have and will continue to play a vital role in this venture, having the potential to speed up the recovery and restoration process for islands that have been impacted by hurricanes like Abaco and Grand Bahama. After reviewing mailboat operations in an effort to address various complaints and petitions coming from Family Island residents regarding the neglect of small cargo services and the need to compete for storage space on vessels assigned to their respective islands. I am pleased to advise this honorable House that my ministry has been granted approval to introduce additional mailboat routes, expand existing routes, and increase the number of vessels on existing routes. The new routes include Grand Bahama to North Abaco, Grand Bahama to Bimini. The expanded route includes Grand Bahama to the Abaco Keys, and the increase in the number of vessels on existing routes include New Providence to Acklands and Crooked Island, New Providence to Inagua and Mayaguana, New Providence to the Berry Islands, and New Providence to South Long Island. The additional mailboat services will not only be instrumental in the shipment of materials for infrastructural development, but also in transporting food, specialized equipment, and people to support the labor component of the government's economic expansion program. My ministry is also engaged in resolving the contractual issues with mailboat operators that have persisted for more than 15 years in reference to the renewal of their contracts. It is noteworthy to mention that some adjustments will be made to the renewed contracts to close small loopholes, their binding mailboats to their statutory obligation to the government and vice versa. Their new contracts will give the government greater control over mailboat activities in terms of ensuring adherence to maritime policies and the Ministry of Transport and Housing, Port Department regulations. The new contract would also give residents and businesses on Family Islands an improved level of customer service. As I end the section of my contribution that focuses on the accomplishments of the agencies and plans for 23-24, I wish it to be known very clearly that we are working at the Ministry of Transport and Housing to fulfill our mandate. We understand that the Bahamian people are dependent on us, and we will not fail, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I'm wrapping up now. But before I go, Madam Speaker, there are some members opposite who have said that this budget is out of touch. However, I say to the Bahamian people, do not believe them. Some members opposite would like the Bahamian public to believe that they did not sit in government 24 months ago. Some members opposite would like you to believe that they did not sit around the cabinet table in 2022. They are running from accountability. Earlier on in my contribution, I made mention of the Bahamas Mortgage Corp naming its headquarters either Ruth Miller, a much lauded public servant. One of the greatest traits of Ms. Miller was her credibility. That is a trait that some members would do good to develop.
Members,
For the opposition to characterize this budget, a budget that provides $3.5 million for rent-to-own housing, establishes a national breakfast program, makes provision for repairing and acquiring Defense Force vessels, significantly increases the budget allocations for entities like the Link Safe Out and the Bahamas Crisis Center as out of touch, suggests that the members opposite are lost in space and lacks credibility. They ain't even that, they just lost, fishing from the moon. Perhaps Hubert Edwards, the chair of the Development Committee of the Organization for Responsible Governance, and a Tribune columnist can assist them. In reacting to the national budget, Edwards wrote, and I quote, "The 2023-24 budget lays out an ambitious, optimistic, and in my view, realistic path forward in terms of the revenue needs. Again, the administration should be commended for facing up to the realities. Regardless of how much we may wish to do otherwise, A budget must address the country's economic realities. This budget presentation, building on the Fiscal Strategy Report 2022, attempts to do just that while balancing some important challenges, both economic and political. In this regard, but subject to the final deterioration of the numbers, but the budget scores highly, in my opinion, end quote. Or perhaps Alice from Abaco, who wrote in the letter to Nassau Guardian, can assist the members opposite. And I quote, firstly, it's heartening to see the government's recognition of the integral relationship between nutrition and educational attainment. This move can be a catalyst in not just addressing the nutritional needs of our students, but also in augmenting learning outcomes across Bahamian public schools, end quote. Madam Speaker, as I take my seat, let me say very simply that the member for Elizabeth supports this budget. For young Bahamians like my daughter and students at Thelma Gibson Primary in Elizabeth Estates and Preston H. Albury High School in Eleuthera and others, I support this budget. For Emmanuel Joseph Jr. from Yamacraw, the 2023 valedictorian from Temple Christian High School, who will be attending Middle Tennessee State University to study aerospace engineering. I support this budget. Emmanuel is here today. For Tony Simon from Pine Barren Road, who was named to the National Weather Book. We're proud of him. For Tony Simon from Pine Barren Road, who was named to the National Water Polo Senior Team for Central American Caribbean Games. And he won 2 gold medals, Madam Speaker. I support this budget. For family like the Brennans in Elizabeth and the Rolls in Exuma, I support this budget. For families with retired persons like the Swedens of College Gardens, I support this budget. For persons recovering from life-threatening injuries like Elvado, I support this budget. For small business owners, I support this national budget for healing, upliftment, empowerment, and security. I support this budget, Madam Speaker. It is a new day. May God continue to bless the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Very good contribution. Yeah. I didn't hear yours. Did you record it? Send it to me, please. As many? The chair recognizes the honorable member for Marathon.
Good morning, Madam Speaker.
The chair recognizes the honorable member for Marathon.
Good morning, Deputy Speaker.
Members in the gallery, keep it down, please.
Deputy Speaker, I would also like to say good morning to my colleagues and my colleagues opposite, and for those visiting here in the gallery who's leaving from Elizabeth. We are all one. Thank you for coming. We are all one in the new day. Deputy Speaker, it is with a joyful heart and an optimistic sense of purpose that I proudly rise with the endorsement and blessings of the great people of Marathon, to whom I am honored to represent and to whom I am so deeply indebted to tender my contribution and support to my government's 2023-2024 budget. But before I start, Mr. Deputy Speaker, let me say this morning, before I do my presentation, I was ensured that I am armed and dangerous this morning. And there they are. I brought the entire urban renewal team. You know that urban renewal was dead, but it is now surely alive. It had a funeral that nobody knew about, but we knew that it was dead. And first of all, I would like to thank the commission, our chairman, Stephen Dean, who's present. I don't know what type of chairman that is, who's worked so hard and on the ground. He doesn't work from his home or remotely. He's on the ground, he's on the ladder, ensuring that work is done. Yeah. I'm very thankful for your contribution, and I'm sure that the people of the Bahamas is thankful to you, Mr. Stephen Dean. And of course, Mr. Dean is assisted by the other board members. That's Mr. Charlie Major, and we also have Mr. Arthur Evans, who are also on the ground. The only board I know that's be on the ground. Yes. And of course, I would like to thank our urban renewal team, who is present, and surely the side opposite may not believe that these people actually exist. I bring them here to let you know that these are real people doing real things in real time. Yeah. So I would like to thank Mrs. Liddy Mae Lonely, who is the Deputy Director for Urban Renewal. Mrs. Lonely, wave your hands. Sonia Camp, Fox Hill. Wendy Russell, Nassau Village. Peggy McKenzie, all the way from Freetown. There goes a man, wave your hand. Myrtle Andrews, Marathon. Michelle Smith, Pinewood. Vernita Black, all the way from Angliston. John Ballou Ferguson, Centerville. Daphne Bannister, St. Barnabas. Rosalie Thompson, Bain and Grantstown. Monique Cooper, Fort Charlotte. Chantel Butler, Carmichael. And of course, our managers, I am so thankful and grateful for the work that they are doing. I have to thank them. Grand Bahama, Kayla Knowles, East Grand Bahama. Alicia Burrows, Marco City. Lisa Higgs, Pine Ridge. Urella Clark, Central Grand Bahama. Tanya Monroe, 8 Mile Rock. Mary Nane, West End. And on our family of islands, Cat Island, Melanie Ramming, our Assistant Director. Walisa Brennan, Abaco. El Schrader Robbins, Bimini. Donna Mae Pickstock, North Andres, Nabi. Janice Stewart, all the way from Exuma. Tiana Thompson, Eleuthera. Brittany Cartwright, Long Island. Tonya Farquharson, Crooked Island. Kevin Rose, Ferguson, Aucklands. Urban renewal is alive. It is not dead. And of course, the guys who everybody's be looking for every day, WhatsApping, phoning, videoing, socialing, WhatsApping, our urban renewal, small home repair, accelerated team is here. It's not the full team, but they're here. Please stand. Don't blame me, blame them. They deal with the roof repairs. They're working hard, traveling on every family of islands. We have an absent, we have Sharon Penn. We have Mr. Johnson, who's not here. We have Mr. Romeo Josie, the Assistant Project Manager. We have Brian Collins. We have Mr. Smith. And that's our youngest member, Mr. Black. Wave your hand. All the way from Andres. That's one of our 20-something years of age. Nobody could get on the ladder and the roof faster than him. I love that young man. In Andres, he know everything. He tells us everybody. And of course, present, we have Mrs. Debbie Bartlett. We thank you so much, Ms. Bartlett. She is our consultant for communication, for social services, and urban development. We're so grateful to have you here. And we're also thankful to Mr. Kelvin Brown, our liaison officer, who ensured that the materials on the island, so when it don't reach, blame him. Wave your hand, Mr. Brown. They need to stop blaming me. And of course, Mrs. Crowley, I thank you so much for your help in urban renewal, and you do it voluntarily. We love you. And surely, we have some good persons here, all the way from social services. So what we do in social service and urban development, we use everybody. We ain't care where you station, you gotta come and help us. And of course, we're grateful to have Mr. Ferrer's role. Yes, blame him sometimes when things ain't sign off. That's because his desk like that. But he's doing a wonderful job. We're thankful to you. And Lisa Gray, we thank you.
Stolen from education.
She's stolen from social services. She ensured that many persons have living accommodations who cry daily. Hopefully I missed no one. And Narissa Johnson, who is one of our newest members to Urban Renewal, we thank you. We'll talk about that at a later time. Deputy Speaker, I will not be long. I promise you. First of all, 1 hour and 15 minutes, I promise. I would like to extend condolences to my own family who lives in Marathon. Just last week, Saturday, we buried my little cousin who lives with my mom. He's 15 years old. He had autism. He died. His kidneys and everything collapsed. My condolences. It was very hard and still hard on the family, but we're pushing through it. And my aunt, Michaela Fox's mom, we send my regrets. And of course, to the family of Barbara Louise Ferguson, I want to send condolences to her children. That is Miss Seymour, and also her husband, the former Assistant Commissioner of Police, Mr. Calvin Seymour. I would like to say I sat into their home, Stephen Seymour, sorry, and we spoke, so that's another funeral. And of course, condolences to Miss Reed of Grace Avenue. She lost her good son. You know, some people get upset and say they bad son, and I could say good son, because from I was a young child living in Marathon, he always used to come around, so he'd know me from going to Yellow Elder Primary. And so when I was campaigning, he was happy and jolly and laughing and telling all the neighbors but me. So I thank God for him. Maybe that's why some of them vote for me, because of the things he said. But he had a slip and fall, and he just died. And I want to send condolences to Miss Reed. He will surely be missed. And of course, to our residents in Marathon whose birthday is today, Joycelyn Corley, Poland Division 12, happy birthday. Vincent Dames, Sean Hall, Edroy Higgs, Castell Roll, Jordan A. Thompson, Dora Bassian, a very special happy birthday to you today. Deputy Speaker, in Marathon, we do things different. I say different because that's the only way I know. I don't know about others, but I know about me. We have celebrated the mothers in Marathon in a very special way. For Mother's Day, we went door to door, and we gave them Mother's Day gifts. They was extremely happy. And so for all the mothers, I'm sure by now everybody got their Mother's Day gift. If you haven't, you visit our constituency office, Claridge Road, 605-2042. It will be right there. More still left if you haven't. And of course, I would like to extend a belated happy Father's Day to the fathers in Marathon, whom we have went door to door, of course, and gave out to Poland divisions. We gave them gifts, and to other areas, we have celebrated them the way they wanted to be celebrated. I celebrated with them. We had a grill out. I know for sure, Deputy Speaker, nobody have the best grill like what we had in Marathon. Nobody never tastes that. And I wish they had come. And of course, we was on Ida Street, Regency Park, Morley Street, Jenny Street, Pinedale, Peardale, Union Village. I wasn't tired. I know what to call that, but I had a ball. And when we thought it was over on Saturday, no, they wanted to do it again for Sunday, Father's Day. So I went to church, get myself together, shake myself off, back on the road. And of course, it was good. We celebrated with them, even fathers living in the area who wanted to eat our food and not their family food was there. They came out on Regency Park, and they came out on Ida Street, and we had a ball. So I love you, fathers. Thank you so much for all the work that you've done, all the good grillers. And of course, on Father's Day, because since we were there, and I don't drive backhoe, but the backhoe driver surprised me. He showed up on Father's Day to clean down some of the areas in Marathon. And particularly, we're doing that because most of the overgrown lots are really areas that may possibly be conducive for crime and incidents of crime. And we surely want our people to be safe. And I want my residents in Marathon to be safe. So you would see persons from now and then coming through your neighborhood, cleaning down the lots. And we just did the one in Pinedale, that's in the back of the village. Oh my, that was much needed. I know the Union Village and the Pinedale residents are happy. I told you it would be done. I just didn't know it would be that day. We also cleared down the lot on Balfour Avenue, so we have some residents would see in driving that there is some pile up there that we're going to have them move expeditiously from off the corner of Balfour and Pinedale. We're going to have that squeak clean. And Crystal Roll, yes, we remember you from Lady Slipper. We're coming to you. We see that lot at your home, near to your home. We're going to clear that as well. Wilmar Road, I'm telling you, the Ministry of Works have already assured us that the road will be raised in order to avoid the flooding. You are on the list. Benson Close, we know that the drainage, it will be checked, and you will have results. And certainly I am thankful to Mr. Butler, my former teacher, who lives in Poland Division 12, and Mrs. DeVoe, who was Earl DeVoe's wife. I had a very good conversation with them, and I'm thankful to them. They keep me on my toes, and they ensure that I do it right in Poland 12. So they have a list of things that needs to be done, and I'm going to go down that list one by one. I'm thankful for them. And coming soon, Deputy Speaker, is a major event in Marathon in August. Family Entrepreneur Fun Day. We will have 50 stalls spread out on the park. We would have a kids' corner, and all of the residents who sell and do businesses from their homes, if you sell food, if you sell clothes, if you sell shoes, if you do printing, whatever you do, you would be able to set up out there. And people and residents and my colleagues, I would ask them to come and support you. Further information will be given on that soon, and you can pick up the applications at the constituency office. And Madam Speaker, Deputy Speaker, before I proceed, just one thing I would like, and just in the event I forget, I want to thank the Rotary Club of Nassau. They have sent me this letter, and great surprise. I'm being honored by the Rotary Club, and I'm not in the Rotary. Wow. Just when you do good, God will follow you. So they said on July 3rd, they watched me over the time of the years, and they saw my community work, and they want to put a medallion and other things. I have no medallion. I can't wait to get there to that event. So I'm being honored by the Rotary Club. What's the honor we call? The highest honor, they say. The Rotary Honor, Paul Harris Fellas Recognition. Oh my God. I can't wait.
Congratulations.
Amen. I feel good. God is good. You know, sometimes the people just make you feel like you ain't doing nothing. God is good. All right.
Keep going.
Madam Deputy Speaker, it is an absolute privilege to deliver my second budget address to this House as Minister of State for Social Services and Urban Development. Hence, I feel duty-bound, even compelled, to offer thanks and gratitude to God, who's the head of my life, and to the Honorable Prime Minister for the confidence that he has reposed in me. Right, Prime Minister? Silent, give consent. Deputy Speaker, I am humbled. Deputy Speaker, I am humbled, overwhelmed, and motivated by so many of my constituents and other members of the public who encourage me to persevere in these trying and exciting times. Their support gives me solace and enables me to rise above the fray that is often so unnecessary in our politics in and out of this honorable place. Deputy Speaker, I also thank those who critique what it is that I do. or what we do as a government, for it serves to guide me and it gives me much needed insight, which then ignites me to do better. Deputy Speaker, Winston Churchill famously said, when I saw this, I couldn't believe this, that the great Winston Churchill said this: you will never reach your destination if you stop and throw stones at every dog that barks. Oh my God. I thought it was a Bahamian who made that up. Deputy Speaker, I am always so proud of my experience in the Royal Bahamas Police Force. It is an experience that has absolutely prepared me to overcome any difficulties or challenges I may encounter in life. Deputy Speaker, hence, like the Royal Bahamas Police Force, I have learned that this is not a place for thin-skinned people, nor people who stop on their divine assignment to throw rock at every dog that barks, especially dogs with no teeth. This is a place for men and women of courage, judgment, integrity, and dedication. Deputy Speaker, a budget, as you know, is not an easy task, and I pause to join the chorus of voices, not only from this side, but throughout the country, those whose voices do not attract headlines, but whose opinion we on this side value, in congratulating the Honorable Prime Minister and Minister of Finance on his well-articulated, visionary, and transformative budget to this august body. A budget that will be touching the lives of every single citizen and every single sector in this country in a positive way. Deputy Speaker, I am particularly proud to be a part of this government at this particular time, as I have been over the past of almost 2 years, I would say, into office. Deputy Speaker, when I accepted the privilege to serve as Minister of State for Social Service and Urban Development, the Honorable Prime Minister, he recognized the weight of this position and challenges that would come along the way. But in all cases, I saw this as my continuous calling to serve my country. And that is one of the noblest and spirited acts in a woman's journey of life. Deputy Speaker, as a representative of the people, I want you to know that my conduct is guided not only by the public interest, but also my resolute belief in God and my determination to help bring goodness to all citizens, especially the less privileged in our society. Deputy Speaker, the Indian Prime Minister, Narendra Modi, said, economic development cannot take a nation forward on its own. We need a society and an economy which complement each other. We need to take care of the poor, deprived, and left behind sections of society. End of quote. Deputy Speaker, in other words, while we pursue economic development, we cannot be like those on the other side and leave the poor for the next term or for another time. Because there may be no next time. And my colleagues opposite attest to that.
Yes.
We've seen it.
Yes,
There is no other time for them.
my Lord.
Deputy Speaker, moving to the business at hand, I could not help but smile to myself, because for me, this budget is an evidence-based of this country, ensuring that the average citizen of this country could still find comfort in knowing that there's a government in office who will look after persons in every strata of society. Madam Deputy Speaker, here are just some simple, centric initiative my caring government has created to bring hope and help to our people. And the only thing our side opposite can talk about is VAT. No. Breakfast for school children.
Yes,
Grants and resources for small business owners.
yes,
New infrastructure and opportunities for family islanders. Affordable housing for first-time homeowners.
Yes.
Ownership in agriculture for for Bahamian entrepreneurs. New hospitals and upgraded clinics for quality health care. Grants and resources for small business owners. Training and national service in the Youth Guard. Saturation of patrols in our communities. Support for Bahamian athletes by hosting events and taking them to the international stage. And the only thing they can talk about is VAT. My God.
My Lord.
Deputy Speaker, when I heard the Honorable Prime Minister presented this budget just a few days ago, I was comforted because I'm quite sure, having observed him very closely over the nearly 2 years in office, that those are qualities that the Prime Minister possesses is an abundant measure, and that it gives me, as a member of government, as a citizen, as a kind of confidence and comfort that really makes me look at my daughter and be comfortable and satisfied that she will indeed have a bright future in this country.
Yes.
She's supposed to be here today. I don't know where she going. My God. Deputy Speaker, this well-put-together budget is people-centric. Hence, the policies and programs contained therein would impact the lives and livelihoods of the citizenry in meaningful ways. Deputy Speaker, it is this hope that the Davis-led government have built this budget. This hope for a better Bahamas, this hope for an improved Bahamas, this hope that all our people will prosper, all our people will have improvement in their lives. It is this hope that will drive us along the dream that will see every Bahamian accomplishing their ambition right here in this beautiful country we call the Bahamas. Together, we will. Together, we must. We will move forward together. We shall. Deputy Speaker, the Davis-led administration has only been in office just under 2 years, but the People's team has hit the ground running and has recorded a number of important centered achievements that I have told you. Deputy Speaker, there is no question that the government has improved the country's reputation internationally. That's right. And is achieving and is actively re-engaging the world on important matters. And of course, this is most evidenced by the recent visit of the United States Vice President Kamala Harris. Deputy Speaker, during the election campaign, we recognize many of the shortcomings of the government system and pledge to bring better management of the results from the operations of the public sector. We have come to office to pursue a better pathway for the development of our country and to the benefit of all citizens and residents. That is why immediately upon taking office, our administration set the wheels in motion to ease the heavy burden of some of the most vulnerable citizens and residents and are making good on its promises. Mr. Deputy Speaker, I now wish to give an account of my stewardship during the preceding year of urban renewal, of which is under my remit. Mr. Deputy Speaker, my presentation will pursue achievements achieved over the past financial year and the proposed projects for the 2023-2024 budget year. Mr. Deputy Speaker, like I said earlier, I'm very thankful to the hard-working members of the urban renewal team. Without them, there's no urban renewal. You need a team, and I and team. What you do and your commitment to urban renewal is what makes this country a success story. I cannot say thank you, and thank you. Deputy Speaker, we all share a common goal, a responsibility bestowed upon us by our citizens to foster development, prosperity, and unity within our beloved nation. Central to our mission is the Urban Renewal Program, an initiative deeply woven into the fabric of Bahamian life and the subject of my address today. The Urban Renewal Program is not just about improving infrastructure or revitalizing neighborhoods. It's about human development and the cultivation of our vibrant Bahamian spirit. It's about a single mother no longer having to worry about her children's safety due to crumbling homes. It's about a young man in a dilapidated neighborhood finding the inspiration and means to realize his dreams. It's about the elderly relenting their twilight years in a comfortable, secure, and engaging environment. Deputy Speaker, this is what urban renewal is all about. Mr. Deputy Speaker, we are not, and I repeat, we are not merely repairing homes. We are restoring dignity, security, and hope. We are not only revitalizing neighborhoods, we are creating spaces of opportunities, inspiration, and community engagement. Deputy Speaker, each stroke of the paint, each fixed roof, each shelter provided, each financial assistance granted, each youth program extended to the community, they are all components of the larger picture of what urban renewal does. Deputy Speaker, there is more to urban renewal than meets the eye. There is an element that speaks to our culture, to our unity, and to our shared identity as Bahamians. The Urban Renewal Band. This band, a symphony of youthful vigor and talent, is a testament to the enduring spirit of our nation. Deputy Speaker, when the Urban Renewal Band performs, it does not merely play music, it tells a story, our story. It speaks to our history, our resilience, our joy, our shared hope for a brighter future. It is a living, breathing manifestation of the urban renewal we seek to achieve, weaving the threads of community together through the power of music. Deputy Speaker, picture a young girl from a struggling family finding her voice in the band and growing into a confident, talented musician. Consider a teenager from a tough neighborhood replacing the noise of chaos in the home with the harmony of music and discovering a passion that could shape his future. These are not hypothetical scenarios. These are real stories of transformation brought about by the Urban Renewal Program. Deputy Speaker, not only do we have a marching band, we also have a pop band. And coming on stream in September is our steel pan band. Wow. Fresh steel all the way from Trinidad and Tobago. Yeah. And that's the place of the steel pan. Deputy Speaker, let me pause to thank the coordinators and instructors of the band who are working tirelessly with these young kids. We have Sergeant Capron, Sergeant Major, Matthew Roll, Tyrone Hanna, Rodella Roll, Shankoan Cambridge, Simon Smith, Corporal Storr, and Corporal Burrows. All of these persons are our band instructors, working day in and day out. I want to thank them for their late nights with the hundreds of children who has no knowledge of music and developing now into budding musicians. Mr. Deputy Speaker, we must remember that the success of urban renewal rests not just on the shoulders of us as lawmakers, but on the collective efforts of every Bahamian. It requires cooperation between government departments, local businesses, churches, and community members. This shared responsibility is what makes the initiative powerful and impactful. Deputy Speaker, so today, I urge you all to support this transformative initiative that is called the Urban Renewal. Not as politicians, but as stewards of the Bahamian people. Let us commit to enhancing our homes, our communities, and the lives of our citizens. Together, we can build a better, more vibrant Bahamas, where every citizen has the opportunity to thrive, to dream, and to contribute to our rich tapestry. Deputy Speaker, we are grateful to receive the same allocation as during the previous budgetary year, which will allow us to contribute immensely to the improvement of the lives of our people in line with our strategic framework. Sometimes I wonder if our budget is the smallest, but guess what? I don't mind. We do much with the less, and the country, have seen it. Deputy Speaker, while this year's indicative allocation, it's a far cry from what we have projected. Like I said, we have learned to work hard and produce with less, and have always been prudent with the resources allocated, whilst continuing to deliver services vital to the socio-economic well-being of the citizens and residents. And Deputy Speaker, I am so elated that the wheels of urban renewal has turned. When I in the church, we do the action when we want God move. Turn! I've seen it turn in a positive direction over the past year. So much so, it takes me back to nostalgia when I was a young police officer working assiduously to make it what it is today. Urban renewal is not dead. No. It is still alive.
Yeah, very much alive. 2.0. Revolutionize.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, it is with great sense of Bahamian pride and jubilation we can now boast of now having 26 urban renewal centers operating from Grand Bahama in the north to Auckland's and Crooked Island in the south. And the two newest centers that are open and operating and makes up the number is West End, and the other is nestled in the great constituency of Marathon, located in Peardale. Deputy Speaker, I can say with a sense of certainty and confidence, myself, the center managers and the entire staff can say that all of the centers are buzzing with activities, with a new lease on life, improving the quality of life for all. This is something we touch, we feel, we experience, and we see it every day. But the opposite side say we have done nothing for the people of Over the Hill. I came to prove them otherwise.
They ain't know nothing.
Among some of the programs presently taking place in the urban renewal centers, and these are for everyone. All citizens can take part, visit our urban renewal centers, have their kids to be a part. Even you, our politicians, you can be a part too. You have nothing to do, you can go there, volunteer your time. We have dance classic, music classic, senior citizen program, breakfast feeding, clothing distribution, choirs, sewing classes, homework assistant, reading at various schools, and prayer in the park. You know we ain't gonna miss out that prayer.
Prayer in the park.
So God can turn it around. You're mocking me, eh? No. So, okay. So, you know, I wish the member for St. Barnabas was here. He ain't here on this day. Wow. St. Barnabas say, ain't nothing happening in urban renewal. That's what he say. Wow. I just telling you. Listen, this is 8 Mile Rock. Look at the children. Grand Bahama Mentoring Program. Wow. But they say, we ain't doing nothing. And we ain't doing nothing for the people over the hill. This is the next slide. Grand Central Urban Renewal After School Assistance Program.
Very good program.
They say ain't nothing going on. Central. Stop. What do you mean you call you when you can visit? Central Grand Bahama. We always look for financial partnership. You know you can go there and partner.
Don't get distracted. They're trying to distract.
This is Exuma, the distribution of our back to school. Now the printers put my name on this. I am not in this picture. This is our Deputy Director, Melanie Ramming from Cat Island. Okay, Melanie, right. They put Lisa Dimey. But they say we ain't doing nothing. This is the distribution. Rokers Point Primary, Exuma. This is our school outreach program.
Revolutionize.
Revolutionize.
Yes.
Very good.
They say we ain't doing nothing, Bahamas.
Send-
Evidence-based. What else do we do? In Albuquerque, our mentoring outreach program in Albuquerque going on in real time.
Yes.
But we ain't doing nothing. Y'all stop lying to the Bahamian people.
She means stop telling untruths.
Don't tell. Okay. And look at Long Island. We have a special softball league. They're coming to Nassau. Yes, Long Island.
Stop giving fake news.
Crooked Island. Uh-huh.
All right.
All right, Crooked Island. What we get? This is our outreach. Crooked Island.
There you go. There you go.
Outreach program. We are touching the family islands. It's not all about New Providence.
No.
Crooked Island.
Yes.
8 Mile Rock. Listen to this. Pinewood Garden dancers. I can tell you about this dancing thing. The Pinewood Garden dancers. Listen, this Pinewood Garden, this dance that we have at all the centers is so powerful. I'm telling you. We even have the international people now inviting them. They want to bring them to get to Switzerland. Yes, and the urban renewal kids, they're going to Switzerland. Yeah, so urban renewal is alive. It is not dead.
They can teach them people probably without a dance.
Think now. Now, I'm serious about this now. I'm serious about this now. Member for Central Grand Bahama. Think if we do nothing, like how y'all did nothing. Think if we did nothing
Just imagine.
in urban renewal. Where would these children have been? Look here.
Look at that.
We had 400 children dancing on Bay Street with all the international guests. 400 children. Oh my God. See, that's Miss Ann Higgins and Henry Higgins.
Yes. Yes.
And they have a team of persons that go to all the centers. Yes. And let me tell you why. Let me tell you why support. Look at this. This last year, see? One of our kids died who got killed with her mom. May her soul rest in peace. She was a part of this.
Yeah.
She was a part of this dance. All of these are urban renewal children. All of this. Giving them something positive and constructive to do.
Yes.
These center managers, they don't work 9 to 5. They just work a different time. Round the clock.
Round the clock.
Listen, see? All these is different children dancing. I know what dance could do. I used to be a dance teacher in the church, you know.
Praise and worship.
No, seriously. I used to, Deputy Speaker, when I told the member for West End and Bimini, he thought I was joking. I forget to bring the picture today. No, seriously, I used to be a dance teacher. And I tell you, Temple of the Word Ministry. Evangelistic Temple, could attest to it, they know but me. Ask Pastor Curry and Pastor Cash. And guess what? Look where dancers bring me.
Yes. Yes.
Right to the house. There's Freetown, Freetown. They're doing the food distribution. This is regular. This goes on regular. But you wouldn't know because you had the centers open, but they were closed. Okay? Look in Fox Hill.
You abandoned the children.
This every day. The children so happy.
Yes, they were abandoned.
They were abandoned, man.
Yeah, man. Heartless, heartless.
Look at Fort Charlotte with the senior citizens. These seniors are so happy that they get someone to talk to and ride around with in the bus. Fort Charlotte, look at Central. Taking care of the elderly. Urban renewal is not only about fixing the roof. We're happy to fix your roof now. Oh, Lord. Evidence-based. See, that's why I don't answer when they, Deputy Speaker, when they start rounding the house, I don't answer. You know, I got to bring my evidence first, and then I speak. Mr. Deputy Speaker, this time we intend to give to all the urban centers a certain budget so that they can run the center and run their programs. They think we do too much micromanagement to them, and they get so much brilliant ideas. So we have allocated $108,000 that would be spread wide for the centers and for them to do what it is they need to do. But of course, you know, it's always open to corporate Bahamas. And Central and Grand Bahama and East Grand Bahama, we consider you to be corporate too. If you want to give into this and help, you could distribute, you could stop by and sow a seed. Amen. Sow a seed. That's it. That's it. I like that. That means you go to church. And of course, Deputy Speaker, while I hear and understand the plea of my colleagues for the creation of additional urban renewal centers in their respective areas, I would say today, and the great member for Tall Pines, I'm so glad he understands, like my other colleagues. Unfortunately, we are not unable to do it right now because of budgetary constraints. However, I can assure them that should our request for additional funding be ordered, we can assure them that their request would be considered. Because urban renewal also pay rent for the buildings that we're in. Okay, and utilities. And how could a man bill without first counting the cost? Deputy Speaker, I wish to seize this opportunity to thank Mrs. Anne Marie Davis, the Office of the Spouse of the Prime Minister, for graciously we used to get plenty invites from that office for the urban renewal children. Plenty.
She's so hard working.
We are graciously inviting urban renewal to partner with that office on a number of community-based projects to include, but not limited to, domestic violence and gender-based initiatives, and most of all, our youth development programs. Mr. Deputy Speaker, the most recent event will be where Mrs. Davis will be hosting a side event at the upcoming 13th Women's Affairs Ministerial Meeting that will be held in the Bahamas August 21st to 23rd. But of course, the great member for West End and Grand Bahama will speak more on that. Urban Renewal will be bringing over 50 students from the Family Islands, and we will have 50 students from New Providence and they'll be chaperoned by our center managers who live on the island, and they will have their time and their day in New Providence. And so we're happy to partner with that office to make this dream a reality. Not everything that urban renewal do, Mr. Deputy Speaker, is highlighted in the daily media. In our own little quiet way, we have been bringing relief to the less fortunate. Over the past year, we have conducted several feeding programs in the community and our schools. We provide temporary shelter for victims of domestic violence and for many who have fallen on hard times. We have provided food and clothing for many families and small grants to various nonprofit organizations. And we thank our good member for West End for approving our request. We're grateful for you. Yes. So while you're saying nothing happening, there's some people in there who smile and say, they ain't know, they helped me. Deputy Speaker, it's with the distinct honor of mine to have been named the patron of the 59th World Dance Congress Workshop that was held here in the Bahamas at the Breezes Super Club on March 29th through April 2nd, 2023. The highlight of the event was the participation of 400 children from Urban Renewal again, who was the showstopper of the 50th Anniversary International Dance Parade on Bay Street. Deputy Speaker, the success of the dance training workshop has led to the establishment of dance group at all of our urban centers, New Providence, Grand Bahama, and we're going to move to the Family of Islands. The estimated budget for this program is $80,000. And Mr. Deputy Speaker, the Dance Council Nassau section under the leadership of Dr. Ann Higgins has joined in the fight to stop violence and abuse against children and the fight against disability and mental health. In this vein, the Council, in conjunction with a group
You may continue, Honorable Member.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. In this vein, the Council, in conjunction with a group from New Jersey, will host a dance workshop for children from the urban renewal communities June 25th to June 30th. And Urban Renewal has partially sponsored this event along with those individuals from New Jersey. Madam Speaker, I wish once again to publicly congratulate the 17 students from Urban Renewal hailing from New Providence, Grand Bahama, Abaco, Bimini, Andros, Eleuthera, Exuma, Cat Island, and Long Island, who successfully completed the University of the West Indies Entrepreneurship and Small Business Management 5 weeks pilot project. Madam Speaker, Urban Renewal is all about providing access to opportunities to help our young people thrive. The success of this program has inspired Urban Renewal to increase the enrollment of students in this program. So we have moved from 17 to 130 who will participate this summer, and it will be at a cost, 130 now at the University of the West Indies, at a cost of $19,500, and we are going to equally allow the children from the Family Island match the amount that's in Nassau. We're going to give them a fair shot at this. It's not Nassau-centric. Madam Speaker, I also wish to congratulate our 15 young Bahamians who have successfully completed the Urban Renewal-sponsored LJM Maritime Academy 4 weeks reading program. I'm so happy. Madam Speaker, these cadets will graduate July 29th, and we'll be present and correct. Evidence-based. Each of these graduates will be qualified for employment in the maritime industry. Yes. These are children from over the hill, or what they call the neighborhood program, who came right from over there where you all had the neighborhood program. Madam Speaker, it is our intention to enroll another group of young persons in this program from New Providence, Grand Bahama, and the Family of Islands during this budgetary year at a cost of $80,000. Small home repair. You better be quiet. Madam Speaker, it is without question the government's small home repair program meets a critical need for addressing housing concerns of many of our less fortunate citizens. Additionally, this program has provided jobs and financial benefits for hundreds of small contractors, skilled persons, and laborers. Madam Speaker, since the relaunch of the Small Home Repairs Program last year, to date, we have repaired some 380 homes in total, including New Providence, Grand Bahama, our Family of Islands, Abaco, Bimini, Cat Island, and Exuma. Why this is a success story for me is because the F&M had completed, so they say, 536 homes in 5 years. We have only done this for a few months. They have done none in Angleston. No, you have not done none in Angleston. That's right.
They didn't know you was going to be here.
Madam Speaker, the number of persons seeking small home repairs in the entire Bahamas continue to mushroom into the hundreds every day. And Madam Speaker, we are cognizant of the fact we will never have sufficient funds to meet the needs of all homeowners who make applications for assistance. Madam Speaker, taking into consideration the hurricane season which is upon us, and the many persons who are in dire need of home repair, the Honorable Minister Wilchcombe, the great member of West End and Bimini, in early May of this year conceived a brilliant idea to expedite the process. When he was explaining the process to us the first time, I say, this man talking on his head. And the great member convinced me. Go to Exuma, let me show you. We went down to Exuma, me and the chairman. And we saw it work. I said, oh my God, I want to catch a flight to Nassau, but there was no plane coming back. I had to wait. I was excited. And so I can say this new approach is dubbed the Accelerated Small Home Repair Program. No more screaming for mobilization. I ain't got to worry about them type of voice notes no more. No more carrying on that I need my mobilization money. We have now went in talks and negotiated with Kelly's Lumberyard, FYP, and 21st Century, where it's going to be proportionately shared among those persons because we're all about empowering our locals. The materials would be able to be collected there, of course, only on instructions, and of course, contractors would have to produce their ID, and all the information would be at those various locations, being manned by an individual. This program, I'm going to be honest with you, it doesn't sit well with many, but most is excited. And where we get to pay the contractors a fixed fee of $2,000 to complete the homes in 2 weeks. We pay the skillman, carpenter, and the laborer. And the agreement is, if you finish before the 2 weeks, you still get that fixed amount.
Yeah.
And so the quicker you do that, the more you get.
Yeah.
We have seen it work. I mean, I've seen the program accelerated. We can actually have 3 and 4 homes going one time in one area. And so we're asking our good contractors to be patient with us. We know that the 15,000 and the 16,000 and all of that sounds good. But we're asking you to keep the Bahamian people in mind. Yes. Keep the elderly woman who lives in Nassau Village, who's 91. Her roof is leaking. Miss Roll, she called us crying. Keep on mind. Yeah. You should be happy to take a deal like that and help Miss Roll. What about the disabled person who can't even move? And the tape fly off the house. And I calling Josie, telling Mr. Josie, go on that woman roof. Josie said, but it raining. Wow. And so these are the things that we're faced with. But we're also grateful for the contractors who've came on board and said, we will accept that money. We will do the job at that cost. Madam Speaker, for too long, residents in our family islands have been left to fend for themselves. Yeah. So we have made the family islands a direct focus of our Accelerated Small Home Repairs Program. The following persons, they say we have done nothing, but the following persons are all among the many recipients on the family of islands. And this is only a dot of who I'm calling, a dot. Sarah Davis in Moores Island, Maria Adley in West End, Brenda Jolly in Seagrape, Francetta Archer in Jonestown, 8 Mile Rock, Kizzy Robinson in Pinedale, 8 Mile Rock, Leander Brown in Lewis Yard, Catherine Williams in Marco City, Wilka Hamilton in Marco City, Selva Lang Cooper and Denise McPhee in East Grand Bahama, Stafford Store in Arthurstown, Cat Island, Elsie Mae Johnson in Old Bike, Cat Island, Joseph Poydare in Morristown, Exuma, Cheryl Barr in Farmers Hill, Exuma, Gail Wallace in Murphytown, Abaco, and Kermie Brown in Dundastown, Abaco is just a dot of the recipients who can say they give God praise for what the government has done. Madam Speaker.
I hope to get my dot soon.
No, your dot. You are plenty dots, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to say the Davis-led administration have heard your plea, and the wait is over. I know everybody want to be first, and I know everybody want it fixed now. And I want to say to Enoch Ferguson in Colonel Hill, Crooked Island, We come in.
Yes.
Sharon Fraser and Chester's Acklands.
Yes.
We come in.
Yes.
Miss Monica Cartwright in Mortimer's Long Island. We come in. Miss Edna Leadon in Central Andros. We come in. Miss Robert Barr in North Andros. Miss Wendy Higgs in Old Cat Island. We come in.
Yes.
We are putting on our construction gear and we come in. Madam Speaker, we can criticize and complain about the long wait. But I can tell you that most of these homes were leaking before we came in power.
Yes.
That's the part what making me mad. Because the F&M did nothing.
Yes.
Not only are we being slapped in the face because of their failure, but the urban renewal small home repair team is being dragged and tossed, trying to complete the work that they should have done, and I am being rolled over by a bus. Madam Speaker, I wish to seize this opportunity to really thank that hard-working, accelerated team over there. Much have been done, but plenty more to go.
Yes. Yes.
Secondly, Madam Speaker, our Grand Bahama team, oh yeah, we have a special Grand Bahama small home repair team who deals with Grand Bahama, Abaco, Moores Island. They're doing a good job.
Are they
That's
here?
Preston, Kyle Stewart. They're not here, but they're watching. They tell me they're watching. And they tell me if I don't call their name, that's another drag-in I can get. Marilyn McLeod, Bishop Darren Sturrup, Garish Williams, Shima Delver, and Radam McKenzie. I'm seriously, they working hard. Now, you can't complain if they travel to the family island because we got to travel to get there.
Yes.
Madam Speaker, we look for our estimated budget for this coming year for the home repairs with this accelerated program, and we're going to make it work. $2,100,000 will enable to affect small home repairs, as we have estimated, 100 homes in New Providence, 100 homes in Grand Bahama, and additional 100 homes throughout the family of islands. Bimini, Exuma, Cat Island, Andros, Long Island, Exuma, Eleuthera, Acklands, Crooked Island. As long as we stick to our accelerated small home repair programs, until the end of the hurricane, this is going to work. And I must say, I'm very thankful to Kelly's, who we've engaged first. All we have seen is discount, 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 discount. So what we were spending, we've saved a lot. And so I thank God for them. So yes, thank to Kelly's. Kelly's heart was touched. Madam Speaker, the overarching goal of the Accelerated Small Home Repair Program is truly to assist the elderly, the single-parent families, and the low-income homeowners who are in dire need of home repairs. Make no mistake, I wish to re-emphasize the fact that the government will never be able to repair everyone's home. To me, this requires a more collaborative approach between the government working in partnership with the church, civic groups such as the Rotary and the Kiwanis Club, the private sector, and community leaders. I'm asking you to step forward and help us. Madam Speaker, it is with this in mind that I invite these organizations to identify at least one person in their respective communities who applied at the Urban Renewal Department and allow us to give them the material and they do the work voluntarily for the people in the community. And listen, Madam Speaker, even though this may sound to some, oh no, I'm not going to do it, we want to thank the East Street Gospel Church who have stepped forward and say, send me, I will go. Yeah. They have decided, they said, give them the materials, and they're going to help 2 senior citizens in Centerville to repair their home for free.
Yes.
Calling on the church to help us out. 2 dots, Joseph. Madam Speaker, with all of that said, our small home repair teams has been working tirelessly to repair the homes. This is evidence-based of the great work our team has done in 1 year, in 1 month. Madam Speaker, while I am so happy we are putting smiles on many homeowners' faces by repairing their homes, it came in my spirit to do something just a little more impactful, not just repairing homes. We sat down and we collaborate, and we wanted to do something that was long-lasting in the life of a family. Madam Speaker, after ruminating on potential ideas and my life experiences, I decided to focus on building a home for at least one deserving single-parent mother with kids. Madam Speaker, this is not a new approach. When I worked in urban renewal in the capacity as a police officer, we witnessed 4 homes being built by urban renewal, working in partnership with corporate Bahamas. So this ain't no new thing. It just was stopped, it was buried, and like I say, urban renewal is now alive. Madam Speaker, 1 home was built for an elderly lady through Lily of the Valley Corner. I can tell you that. This was under the Christie administration, you remember? I am not lying, evidence-based. The 2nd home was built for a family in Finlayson Street, Payne and Grantstown. The 3rd home was built for a family in Labour Street, Baintown, again. So that's 2 dots for you, Payne and Grantstown.
2 dots.
And the 4th was built for an elderly man through Thompson Lane, Centerville. That's 3 dots for the member for Centerville. 1, 2, 3. The estimated budget for this home, Madam Speaker. I got to laugh at my daughter. Put her right there. Madam Speaker, that's my daughter who's supposed to come long time.
My Lord.
Welcome to the house. The estimate budget for this home is pegged at $80,000, and my team and I will take preparatory steps, we have done it before, to identify a recipient and a property. And with the help of corporate Bahamas, we will make this dream become a reality for a single mother with children.
Give her a home.
This is the 3D that they did for it, right? This is the 3D. Look at this. 3D.
Got a home.
Get a home. Uh-huh. B-Doc? My God. B-Doc said they can help us. I tell you that. B-Docs will help us build this place. Oh, my God. The great Minister for Freetown, I want to thank you.
On the floor.
He has partnered with Urban Renewal to have this home done. On the job. We appreciate you.
That's a real
Coming to our mother.
That's a real minister.
And of course, Madam Speaker, it is our hope for corporate Bahamas to be so generous to us and to help us build a subsequent home for a deserving family on one of the family of violence. I can tell you it's going to happen. Madam Speaker, our forefathers had the secret to healthy living and long life. Historically, farming was a signature feature in every Bahamian family, and particularly on our family of islands. It was common for many households to turn even a tiny plot of land into a little food production, whether growing corn, peas, lime, cassava, or potatoes. All I love to eat. Madam Speaker, if we rely solely on shopping in our food stores to purchase healthy food items, sadly, only the wealthy among us will survive. Simply put, it is very expensive for the poor man and the poor woman. And with this in mind, Madam Speaker, my government is not the government who's concerned about the plight of the poor in the next term. Instead, we are the New Day government who creates innovative programs to help the poor now. Madam Speaker, I am pleased to announce that very shortly, look at this, I saying the same thing. Urban Renewal Commission. What is that? You know what your sisters? I shall not be long. Oh, yes. Yeah, put it right there. Okay. I'm pleased to announce that very shortly, Urban Renewal Commission and the Church Commercial Farming Group, TCCFG, under the leadership of the Reverend Dr. Patrick Paul, will sign a memorandum of understanding which provides the guiding relationship principles for the parties in the intention to achieve increased food security in communities throughout the Bahamas. Madam Speaker, this backyard farming initiative proposes to engage struggling families within the local communities to start personal backyard food growing projects. It is with the view to become producers of what they consume. We are in a season where it's critical that Bahamians become prosumers, which means to produce and consume. Additionally, in promoting the backyard farming, our families residing in the urban communities will reduce their food bills while increasing their health and nutrition. Eat what you grow, grow what you eat. Very good. So we should look forward for you assisting us in Bahama. Amen. Madam Speaker, the pilot program will run for some 3 months in New Providence and Grand Bahama. TCCFG will work in conjunction with the Urban Renewal Commission to distribute, to distribute 100 backyard kits in communities where our urban renewal centers are located. Additionally, TCCFG will donate 2 greenhouses to the Urban Renewal Commission. Madam Speaker, President Joe Biden once said, and I quote, "By supporting people who are committed to rectifying their mistakes, redefining themselves, and making meaningful contributions to society, we help reduce recidivism and build communities." End of quote. Madam Speaker, annually, a goodly number of young men are released from the Bahamas Department of Correctional Service and re-enter our communities. And Madam Speaker, many wish to become law-abiding citizens and have the best intention of living a conventional life, yet have few job skills. Just leave it right there. Yeah, I just want to show them something. Evidence-based. We ain't gonna keep it there long. Yeah, put it right there. Ain't gonna be that long. No, that ain't no crab. I get it. Right? So, yet have a few job skills, they lack formal education, and experience discrimination in housing and job markets because of their criminal records. As a result, organic soil, we'll explain all of that. As a result, they become our local statistics. Our men who leave prisons sometimes become homeless, they're unemployed, they lack formal education, impoverished, and they are unable to make it in the conventional world. And unfortunately, several of them are rearrested for a new crime with a very short span of time, which drains our country's resources. I am pleased to announce that after much planning and tweaking at Urban Renewal, we're set to launch our Second Chance program. We have assembled a group of passionate community leaders under the leadership of Dr. Henry Higgins and Bishop Arthur Evans, who's present to spearhead this program. We have estimated the cost of this program at $100,000. And Madam Speaker, the overarching goal is to equip formerly incarcerated males with the view of rehabilitating them and giving them a second chance of being a productive member of society. And Madam Speaker, the participants will enroll in a 6-month program that focuses on healing just as much as it focuses on developing work readiness skills. The program will consist of in-class academic studies and on-the-job training and apprenticeship. Participants will also learn professional and life skills, professional finance, career planning, business etiquette, self-advocacy, and conflict resolution. Classes will be held at various church halls and will be taught by qualified facilitators. We've already communicated with a few churches who are excited to accept our first group of cohorts. We have already identified 11 facilitators who have endorsed this program. We have William Lund, Leroy Butler, Nathaniel Higgs, David Wims, Denver Pratt, Shelton Burrows, Keith Cox, and many more. Madam Speaker, Urban Renewal Life Coach Program for Men. The Second Chance program was the one that I just spoke about. This one is the Urban Renewal Life Coach Program for Men. Having a mentor present in a young man's life can reduce risk factors for negative behaviors. It's in this vein, very shortly, Urban Renewal will embark on a new, innovative, and intervention program designed to steer young men away from a life of crime and helping them to build more positive futures. The programs will be held at all the urban renewal centers in New Providence and Grand Bahama, 2 of our most populated islands. Madam Speaker, this program is budgeted at $100,000 and will be facilitated by a group of positive and qualified male community role models. This model of group mentoring offers significant positive outcomes for male participants, particularly in supporting the development of confidence, trust, agency, and social capital in their life. Simply put, they would have a second chance at life. Applications were given out and so many people signed up. I was like, wow. So our men, they're reaching out. They just want to know that somebody cares.
That's right.
Madam Speaker, transformation of our urban community is being guided by the vision of the social revolution enunciated when the nation of the Bahamas was born 50 years ago. Some of the most stabilizing, nationally nurturing institutions were birthed through the visionary lens of the founding father of our nation, the late Sir Lyndon Pinland. The social revolution articulated a common among the founding fathers of our nation. The ultimate goal is to wipe every tear from every eye. The declared vision for our nation is economic independence. Madam Speaker, social services and urban development is the institution, the government agency that assists, supports, equips, and empowers the individuals, families, and communities to overcome hardship. Madam Speaker, admittedly, over the years, an uncomfortable number of Bahamians have become dependent on some of the services we provide. The good news is there are more Bahamians who have used our services as a launching pad of restoration and a new beginning. Madam Speaker, personally, I know 2 individuals who were recipients of social services assistance for years, and today they are business owners.
Yeah.
So, Madam Speaker, social services and urban development is a ministry that is in touch with the people of the Bahamas. Our goal is to be more intentional about our role as the heartbeat of the national growth and development in our country, which means to support, identify, create opportunities that strengthen the socio-economic fiber of our nation. Madam Speaker, if truth be told, the purpose and the role of our ministry has been blurred to the extent that, as Minister Wilcombe describes it, we are being placed in the junk mail in many minds. This erroneous perception is about to be changed. We are working diligently every day to strengthen and restore our mission, to assist, encourage, and facilitate Bahamians to transition from the need of the meal voucher to self-sufficiency, then to economic independence. Madam Speaker, it is my view we must do all that we can to strengthen and cultivate the culture of earning among our youth. Equally as important, the need for a culture of ownership. We need an ownership mindset. Bahamians must know there are more ownership opportunities for them right here in the Bahamas. Madam Speaker, one of our key strategies is to strengthen our future by giving more hope and opportunities to our youth. We are presently in discussions with a business person, Mr. Ralph Burrows. You can walk right there. There he is. Yes, you can stay right there, Mr. Burrows. Take off your cap. Yes, that's Mr. Ralph Burrows. He's working very hard in the field. Very good, Mr. Burrows. Right? With the possibility of developing 2 pilot youth-oriented entrepreneurial programs with him. The first is the Urban Kids Coal Manufacturing Project. We have spoken to the Minister of the Environment, and he assures that they are going to ensure that all the rules and regulations are followed by the location of where this is supposed to take place. The Urban Kids Coal Manufacturing Project taps into an aspect of natural resources. Worldwide, the coal industry is a $7.72 billion project. This industry in the Bahamas has the potential of becoming a multi-million-dollar industry. And most of the monies in the Bahamas today is being generated by the foreigners. Madam Speaker, the second project labeled the Urban Renewal Kids Organic Soil. Where's the, I can't lift that, it's right there. Yeah, that's the coal. The soil is manufactured by using the coconut barks. Can you believe it? Wow. That Mr. Burrows, you see all the coconut they bark and make coconut water? He drives around town and move all of them and take them to his plant on Gladstone Road. I've seen it for myself. Wow. And he has a machine that he does do it in and creates organic soil. And how you know it's organic soil? Because when you use it on the plants, you see the plants that have the yellow on top? That's bad soil. Organic soil is to ensure that you ain't gonna see no yellow. Okay? And so what are we doing? We're helping to create an opportunity for a Bahamian-owned business. Madam Speaker, the estimated cost for our teenagers to be in this program is estimated at $70,000 for our kids to be a part of this program. And what ultimately would we intend to do after meeting with the environment, Mr. Ralph and all the heads, is that our goal is to expand these programs beyond job creation for the 2 projects. A percentage of the revenue will be placed in the Urban Renewal Foundation to assist urban renewal with its youth program. Like I told you earlier, our budget is at a minimum. We want to do the home repairs, and we do a lot. And so, of course, that would be under a memorandum of understanding, and the AG and everybody else would be involved. But this is a wonderful program, and it's Bahamian-owned, and I think that we ought to encourage our Bahamians who are doing something great that nobody sees. Yeah. And Madam Speaker, Maslow law highlights the need to address the basic needs of food and shelter for individuals and families before we can inspire and equip them with the right mindset and tools to become self-actualized. It is at the phase of self-actualization that we can become economically independent. Madam Speaker, last year in November, Urban Renewal hosted a seminar at the National Training Agency for our staff. Almost 200 staff members attended. We sought to influence a paradigm shift on our thinking to secure increased ownership and to build the morale of the staff. And Madam Speaker, we believe to invest in our own staff, and we know that it's most important. If we want them to produce good results, we have to ensure that they themselves are taken care of. And Madam Speaker, during the seminar, we had motivational speakers and financial experts who all spoke to our employees and encouraged them that no matter what their income capacity may be, they must find means to save and invest in their future. If only just in a home. And for those who can afford it, we strongly recommend our employees to invest in income-producing properties. Madam Speaker, and I spoke with the good member for Elizabeth. Yes. You know, she's the expert. I call her the expert. I don't know what you call her, but that's what I call her. For the homes. So we spoke to her. We spoke to her. Yes. And we know that she is going to help us a little bit to curve this. Yeah. And even though this here doesn't come out of our government's budget, this is something special that our great member from West End and Grand Bahama and Marathon, we put our heads together. And we looked at the staff members, social service and urban development. And we see that people complain all the time about their service. So what we want to do, we invest in them. We want to invest in them and give them an opportunity to feel good about themselves and feel good about the services they produce. We know that their salaries are not what they all wanted. All of our salaries ain't what we want. But however, Madam Speaker, if we would call it a miracle, our God touching the heart of a good Bahamian citizen who generously offered to help the staff of social service and urban development by giving them an opportunity for ownership. Madam Speaker, this citizen / developer has offered 2 packages. One is a 2-bedroom home at $110,000, and the second one is a home with an efficiency of $130,000. And the third one is a triplex of $150,000. This was a stretch.
The chair recognizes the honourable member for West Grand Bahama.
Complete her contribution, so I ask that we extend our time beyond 1 o'clock this afternoon.
Thank you, honourable members. It's been moved and seconded that the business of this House proceeds beyond the 1 p.m. hour. As many are in favor, will remain seated. Those opposed will stand. The motion is carried. The business of this House will proceed beyond the 1 p.m. hour. Honourable member for Marathon, you may proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And Madam Speaker, this is in no way no cost to the government, no liability for the government, no competition with the Ministry of Housing. Let me make that clear. We know that the entire Bahamas, a lot of persons are applying for homes. We know that housing is overwhelmed. And so what we did is that just this area, a small portion, we're trying to help just the staff. We're going to we'll have a meeting where they will meet with the developer and try to get them to qualify for themselves to have homes. You speak to most of them don't have homes because of the salary. We want to help them. That's what it's about. That's what it's about. Until the wealth become common. Right, member of Central Grand Bahama. Madam Speaker. Let me see it. Let me see it. Oh. This is the look of the duplex.
Nice.
This is the duplex.
Oh, wonderful.
We
Yeah.
want our employees to qualify, and they will. Okay? Well, I count 3, so that's triplex.
Yeah.
I know construction, but you know, it's social service and urban development. The staff, we meet with the staff and they'll be able to get all the information that they need.
Yeah.
I didn't have an opportunity to share the island gold. See here, the coconut soil, see here? That's the name of the, I forget the chef's
Wow.
name. This is, yes. Oil and gold coconut. Coconut soil. So anybody know about the coconuts being thrown all over the place? Let us know. We will send the coconut man.
We ain't locking up the coconut boy. We ain't locking them up.
No, we're not locking up anybody.
Using their coconut.
Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, urban renewal decide that it's gonna take a bite out of crime.
Take a bite.
Take a bite. I wish to remind this House when the framers of urban renewal created the program 21 years ago. They had 5 clear objectives in mind. 5. 1, and this is written, to prevent crime and reduce the fear of crime in the community. 2, to identify and tackle the main causes of social conditions which promotes the occurrence of crime and deviant behavior. 3, urban renewal was created to examine and improve the quality of life and the social and environmental conditions of high crime communities. 4, urban renewal was created to involve the community in problem solving and to empower citizens to play an active role in their communities. Last, urban renewal was created to identify the problems facing our young people and to engage them in positive activities and programs geared toward making them productive citizens. Madam Speaker, what do I do with that paper? The responsibility of crime prevention cannot be laid squarely on the shoulders of the Honorable Minister for Freetown, who is the Honorable Minister of National Security. And it cannot lie solely on the shoulders of the Commissioner of Police. Crime prevention is everyone's responsibility. That includes each and every Honorable Minister sitting in this House. Madam Speaker, increased police presence, the police working in partnership with the community to prevent crime is unquestionably a deterrent to crime. And Madam Speaker, permit me to use this opportunity to congratulate the officers of the Royal Bahamas Police Force under the leadership of Superintendent Darby Pratt, who was assigned to urban renewal, and his team for the outstanding work that they are doing and working hand in hand with our team from urban renewal to prevent crime and antisocial behavior. Even our civilian staff walks with the police through our community. They walk with the police. That takes courage. Madam Speaker, this is the increase in police presence our good member for Cat Island and San Salvador spoke about. And Madam Speaker, I can tell you that the success of the many walkabouts conducted by the police and urban renewal staff has thus far had a positive impact on residents, and it is a demonstration we want to reduce the incidence of crime and the fear of crime among our citizens. So, Madam Speaker, moving forward, working in partnership with the police, officers in urban renewal, the following types of early intervention and prevention programs will be aggressively employed to avert antisocial behavior among our youths. Behavior management program, social competence promotion curriculums, conflict resolution and violent prevention curriculums, bullying prevention programs, after-school creation and life-building programs, mentoring programs among young persons, school visitation and lectures. Madam Speaker, now I turn your attention to what I call a groundbreaking crime prevention initiative, conceived by my staff and myself, and after communication with the great minister from Freetown, and we was in consultation with the Commissioner of Police. Madam Speaker, gun violence has been endemic and remains a pervasive issue in some of our communities for too long. We cannot let another young person be gunned down and just step over their body or create a video and circulate it around to social media and think that is a fad. It's not enough to just blame the Minister of National Security and the security forces. We really must join forces to do something that says enough is enough. And Madam Speaker, if I may, just Ms. Shirley, I ain't taking it off, yeah. So this is our enough. Stop the gun violence. Yeah. All my members can have one. The good members. Madam Speaker, addressing this type of violence requires continual adaptation, diverse partnerships, and rigorous evaluation. This is why very shortly, Urban Renewal in conjunction with the Royal Bahamas Police Force Urban Renewal Team is launching a Say No to Guns campaign aimed at preventing and reducing community gun violence. And I cannot side opposite. I don't think you should say a word but this. Madam Speaker, this initiative will be a multifaceted approach. Along with the Royal Bahamas Police Force and a variety of community groups, we will embark on a massive campaign through the length and breadth of the Bahamas. And of course, the projected cost for this campaign is projected at $100,000. And Madam Speaker, that message received, what we want them to receive, will be televised, radio airways, social media with anti-gang campaign ads. We'll conduct campaign rallies at our private and government schools. We will do community walkabouts and encourage residents to join in. Produce flyers and billboards. Yeah. We can't just sit around. We can't just sit around and say we wanted to stop and do nothing. We all have to do something. And Madam Speaker, statistics has recorded the firearm for the year 2023. 168 firearms were recovered. 5,339 ammunition recovered. 243 adults charged. 45 somebody good juvenile children charged. Madam Speaker, it is our intention to propose during the course to say no to gun campaign. And of course, in consultation with the Commissioner of Police, who is in support of this, happily. He's excited for his men. They hit the ground running. The Commissioner of Police, of course, will be seeking a declaration of a 2-week gun amnesty by our Honorable Prime Minister, which will give persons in possession of illegal firearms the opportunity to surrender these weapons without jeopardy and prosecution. Let me make it clear. There will be no reward for money to surrender any illegal firearm. You will not be paid. Madam Speaker, the stark reality is that there may be some among us who may have inherited a firearm from a husband, grandfather, or uncle who may have had it locked in a safe and just paid no attention to it. We say, time to give it up and bring it in. Madam Speaker, there may also be individuals, particularly young men, living in tough communities who are so honest, hardworking, and they themselves acquired an illegal firearm with no intention of committing a criminal act, but only just to protect themselves. We say it's time to give it up and bring it in. Madam Speaker, we are only providing an opportunity for them to surrender the firearm because we believe if just one weapon is taken off the street, that reduces the chances of it being used in criminality. Madam Speaker, the whole gamut of how this proposed program will run will be explained with consultation with the Minister of National Security and the Commissioner of Police going forward. Madam Speaker, as we face the future I am reminded, and I'm closing, of the words of the first Prime Minister and the President of Ghana, Kwame Nkrumah. Open quote, we in Ghana. The task ahead is great indeed, and heavy is the responsibility. And yet, it is a noble and glorious challenge. A challenge which called for the courage to dream, the courage to believe, the courage to dare, the courage to do, the courage to envision, the courage to fight, the courage to work, and the courage to achieve the highest excellencies and the fullest greatness of people. Dare we ask for more in life, he said. Madam Speaker, restoring and building hope in our communities will take great courage, but with God's help, it can be done. I appeal to my colleagues, especially those on the opposite side, to give full support of this budget, 2023-2024. Madam Speaker, Nelson Mandela once said, "It always seems impossible until it's done." Members of the opposition may say it is impossible and say this cannot happen, but they will see the transformation when it is done. Madam Speaker, before I end, and I'm ending, that's the third time, there's something about the number 3. This is something about the number 3, Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, so you notice the end. Before I end, I again want to thank all my colleagues, the senior minister in the ministry of the Honorable Obadiah Wilshcombe, for his constant support and their patience. Glory. Glory. Glory.
Glory.
My Prime Minister, my colleague ministers, and of course you, the people of the Bahamas, for having faith and confidence in me and in us. And I close by sharing the excerpts of a speech made by the late John F. Kennedy. I had to close with this, Madam Speaker. I had to close with this. After this,
Go ahead.
you can't even say nothing after this.
Go ahead.
The late, we in America now, the late John F. Kennedy in 1961.
Be close to the Bahamas.
For of those, open quote,
Bring it on, member.
for of those to whom much is given,
Much is given.
much is required. And when at some future date, the High Court of History sits in judgment on each one of us, recording whether in our brief span of service, we fulfilled our responsibilities to the state, our success or failure, in whatever office we may hold, will be measured by the answers to the 4 questions. First, were we truly men of courage? Were we truly men of judgment? Were we truly men of integrity? Were we truly men of dedication?
Dedication. Men or women? Men or women?
These are the qualities which, with God's help, this proud mother and community builder and proud Bahamian, I will characterize our government's conduct under the able leadership of our esteemed captain, the Honorable Philip Brave Davis.
Be brave. Be brave.
So now I say,
We're
as we
landing now.
close,
We're landing.
may God, the people of Marathon and I support this budget. Madam Speaker, may God bless the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And we close. Close 3 times. Amen. Close 3 times. Cheers to you, make it you know.
Thank you, Honorable Member. I don't know who has the afternoon session, but I had 2 very innovative morning speakers. So y'all better bring it home tough. But But before we leave, honorable members, I'd like to call your attention to the gallery. Last Thursday, while the honorable member, and I hate to miss her when she's on the floor, for Engliston was speaking, I was representing and as a guest of most distinguished guest in the gallery today. And I want to recognize a young lady who I invited here as my guest today in this gallery, Mrs. Kalia Kelma, and I want you to stand for me. Honorable member for Engliston, I have never been so proud. After the pandemic and what I've seen happen in the government school system, I can tell you as a first time in the Ministry of Education than I am now of you. When I went to Central Eleuthera High, where this young lady graduated, let me share some of her academic accolades with you. And this is government school. She graduated valedictorian. She was head girl. Outstanding student in physics. Outstanding student in chemistry. Outstanding student in agriculture. Outstanding student in science. Outstanding student in religious studies. Outstanding student in history. Outstanding student in family life. Outstanding student in keyboarding. Outstanding student in English language. It doesn't end there. She's band captain, most athletic female, most outstanding maritime cadet, most outstanding junior achievement president, Central South Eleuthera's Youth in Parliament 2022. University of the Bahamas Jumpstart Scholar. Top family female student for AKA Sorority Honorary Day. That is all wrapped up in that little body right there. And government school. Member for Engliston, take a bow. Kalia is on her way for the fall to Nova Southeastern University, where she's going to be pursuing finance. I can tell you the future of our country is great. Here with her is her mother, Philippa Kelly. Miss Kelly, stand up proud, mama. And she's chairman of the local government in Savannah Sound. She's deputy chief counselor in the Central Eleuthera, and her mother is also the general manager of North Windermere Development. So you see, Kalia comes from good stock. I just had to congratulate her and tell her how proud I am of her. And I just want to tell you, as you move on, we are in the House of Assembly, we stand behind you, and we want to know that what you do in the future is going to be for the benefit of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Thank you so much. The chair recognizes the honorable member for West Grand Bahama and Bimini.
Madam Speaker, so well said by you, Madam Speaker. I'm sure our colleagues join you in congratulating the wonderful young lady from Eleuthera. We congratulate you very much. Madam Speaker, we now move for the lunch break. We'll be back at 3:30 this afternoon when the member for Marco City will be on the floor.
Thank you, honorable member. Been moved and seconded that the business of this House stands suspended until 3:30 p.m. As many are in favor, but will remain seated. Those opposed will stand. The motion is carried. The business of this House stands suspended until 3:30 p.m.